a Tuesday night, it's Utah Grizzlies Hockey as the Grizz take on the Kansas City Mavericks for the first of a three-game series. Hi, everybody. I'm Tyson Whiting. Welcome to Utah Grizzlies Hockey. It's the third game of 8 straight on the road. It's the fifth game of 72 for the Grizzlies. Utah split the first two season series at Maverik Center on October 21st and 22nd. The Grizzlies split a two-game set against Rapid City, losing 5-3 on October 21st and getting a 3-2 victory behind 2 Taryn Pfizer goals and 35 Lucas Parikh saves as the Grizzlies got a 3-2 victory. Last week in Boise, the Grizzlies got a 2-1 victory last Friday on October 28th as Lucas Parikh stopped 38 of 39, and Taryn Pfizer and Cameron Wright each scored goals. Wright got his first professional goal, and Pfizer picked up his fourth goal in his first 3 games of the season. And even though Idaho outshot Utah 39-27, it was the Grizzlies that came away with 2 standings points. However, last Saturday, the Idaho Steelheads shut out the Grizzlies 4-0 behind a 23-save shutout from Jake Kupski. So the order of the night for the Grizzlies is to see if they can find some improvement offensively. In the last 2 games, the Grizzlies only have 2 goals, and in the 4 games, the Grizzlies only have 8 goals, one of them being on an empty net. So Utah is near the bottom of the league offensively. Let's see if things improve here in Kansas City. There was a couple of factors that went into the Grizzlies only scoring 2 goals last weekend. We'll get to that later on in the broadcast. Lucas Parikh gets the start in net once again for the Grizzlies. It'll be his 4th straight start. He's got a record of 2-1 with a 2.33 goals against average and .923 save percentage. Should be a lot of fun. First of a 3-game series. The Grizzlies will have 2 days off after tonight, and they will continue the series Friday and Saturday in Kansas City. And then next week, the Grizzlies will be in Allen, Texas for 3 games in a 4-day stretch against the Americans. When we come back, we'll give you the starting lineups for both teams, and we'll go through the Grizzlies' entire roster and their scratches. And we'll also talk about some key players for Kansas City to watch as we're in business on a Tuesday night. And you're listening to the Grizzlies Hockey Network, presented by Mountain Land Supply Company.
If you're out driving and something happens to your car, truck, or even wheelchair, and you end up stuck at a rail crossing, it's going to be okay. Don't panic. Here's what you do. Get out if you can, and look for this blue sign on the metal pole. Call the number on the blue sign, and when they answer, tell them the crossing number. The number is right here. This tells them the exact location of the crossing. This is the fastest way to get trains stopped before coming through the crossing. Look for the blue. It helps you.
Welcome back to Utah Grizzlies Hockey. I'm Tyson Whiting. Face off in about 10 minutes over at Cable Dahmer Arena. We're live at Maverik Center as we'll do a remote broadcast. We'll just try to describe the big game the best we can, but in Kansas City, they got a pretty good video feed, knock on wood, and hopefully that will continue here tonight in the first of a 3-game series. Grizzlies going with 17 skaters tonight. Lucas Parikh will be in net. Garrett Metcalf will be the backup. This will be the 4th straight start for Parikh. He's got a 2-1 record. He actually played pretty decent last Saturday in Idaho as he didn't allow a goal the first 33 minutes of that game. Idaho was able to connect on a couple centering passes late in the second period, and then they got third period goals by Ryan Domowski and Jack Becker. Parikh has a record of 2-1 with a 2.33 goals against average and .923 save percentage. While we don't know the starters yet for either team, I can tell you some of the key players to watch out for the Grizzlies tonight. Ben Tardif's got an assist in 3 of his first 4 games this season. Watch out for him. He was especially outstanding against Kansas City last year. Remember the 3-game sweep in early March that the Grizzlies had against Kansas City. Ben Tardif got an overtime game winner in the first game of that 3-game set on March 9th. That was the game where Kansas City disputed too many men on the ice, or it was something else, or maybe that the goal didn't cross the goal line. And that was the game where Derek Anjuli threw the stool on the ice and got suspended for a game. It was more of a chair than a stool. and Kansas City was livid. And then Tardif got a 1 goal on March 11th in a Grizzlies victory, and then he picked up a hat trick, scoring 3 goals on March 12th. And Garrett Metcalf got his last victory of the season before he was out due to a season-ending injury, as Utah won 6-3 that night. So Ben Tardif, watch out for him. He might be my pick to click because he has had a lot of success against Kansas City in the past. Utah went 6-3 against the Mavericks last year, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how this year transpires, especially for the Mavericks, who are off to a 2-1 start this season. They're led by third-year head coach Tad O'Had. The Mavericks missed the playoffs in each of their first 2 seasons, and you know that Tad O'Had is a little bit on the hot seat, but he has a couple of good goaltenders. I'm not entirely sure who's going to be in net tonight for Kansas City, whether it's going to be Shane Starrett, the former Wichita Thunder, or Dylan Kelly, who played for Rapid City last year. We'll see if the ECHL app will update what the starting lineups for both teams here in a couple minutes. But we mentioned Tardif. He'll be on the top forward line tonight with Brandon Cutler and Keaton Jamison. Watch out for Cutler. He joined the Grizzlies last week as he was signed last Tuesday. He played in both games against Idaho, and Cutler had 8 shots in the 2 games. And I thought he was one of Utah's best offensive players last Saturday, even though the Grizzlies didn't score a goal against Idaho. I think there's a couple explanations as to why the Grizzlies, and really the Steelheads for the majority of that series, struggled offensively as well. The ice surface, there was an ice compressor that went down in Boise, and it made it difficult because the ice surface really had a tough time staying cool, and so guys were having a tough time handling the puck, getting good shots off. I think the process that the Grizzlies had for the majority of the series was pretty good. They just couldn't find a way to get those good scoring chances, partly because it was tough to get those 2 passes that you really need to get those good scoring chances off because of the ice surface. And so watch out tonight for the Grizzlies, especially if they play a north-south game against Kansas City. And obviously there's a lot of new faces on Kansas City as they only returned about 6 or 7 players from last season's club. So we'll watch out for Kansas City. How did they match up with the Grizzlies' speed? How did they match up with Utah's size? It does look like outside of a couple big defensemen. In fact, Kansas City does look like they're really big on the defensive unit outside of Tommy Muck, who's 5'11", 190. All the other defensemen for Kansas City are 6'2" to 6'5" in height. They're 6'2" and bigger. So watch out for Kansas City's size on the defensive line. But do they have the speed that can match up with the Grizzlies? That's something we'll keep an eye on during this series. Well, we mentioned Tardif and Cutler. Keaton Jamison will be on that top forward line tonight. We'll see if Jamison gets going. He is scoreless in 4 games this season, but he's a guy that does a lot of the little things. And watch out for Tardif and Cutler, maybe setting Jamison up over on the right side. I think the forward line I'm really excited about tonight. I don't know if they're going to get the start, but Dakota Raby scored a goal in the season opener against Rapid City, and Raby has been outstanding both offensively and defensively. He's played a great 2-way game, and with Raby, it seemed to be against Idaho. In the defensive zone in particular, he was deflecting one pass after another, and I thought he was outstanding. Watch out for Zach Sekos, who scored a goal in each of the first 2 games of the season, both against Rapid City. Sekos went scoreless last weekend in Idaho. And Taryn Fizer, who's tied for second among all league rookies with 4 goals. Watch out for Taryn Fizer, who leads Utah with 4 goals. In fact, he has 4 of Utah's 8 goals this season, and he's got a pretty good shooting percentage of 36.4%, 4 goals on 11 shots. We'll also see Cam Strong out there wearing number 26. He'll be lined up next to Tyler Penner. We'll see if this will be the game where Penner gets going offensively. And Cameron Wright is also on that third line as a forward. Wright leads the club with 18 shots on goal, and he actually leads the Grizzlies by a pretty decent margin, as Taryn Fizer with 11 shots is second on the club. So Wright has the big lead in terms of shots on goal for the Grizzlies, and he can end up adding a lot of scoring punch to that third line tonight. We'll also see Dylan Fitz and Johnny Walker as forwards for the Grizzlies this evening. That's the 11 forwards for Utah. We're not sure who the starters are as of yet, but we'll see Tardif, Cutler, Jamison, along with Raby, Sekos, and Fizer. We'll see Cam Strong, Tyler Penner, and Cameron Wright, as well as Fitz and Walker. 6 defensemen for the Grizzlies tonight. James Shearer, remember, he's out with an injury, and Victor Bartley is also out of the Grizzlies lineup. Utah's going to be going with Bryson Martin, number 14, former third-round pick of the Buffalo Sabres. He'll be lined up next to Connor McDonald, the Grizzlies captain. McDonald leads the club with a +2 rating this year. We'll see Andrew Nilsson. Watch out for him in his powerful shot, wearing number 44. He's got 3 assists in the last 3 games for Utah. And he'll be lined up next to Nate Clerman, the former Notre Dame captain, who's got 1 assist through 4 games. Joey Colatarchi is going to be in the lineup for the first time this season, and he'll be paired up with Kyle Pouncey. Pouncey making his second appearance for the Grizzlies this year. I thought he was pretty impressive despite the -2 rating against Idaho last Saturday. And the scratches for the Grizzlies, we mentioned Victor Bartley and James Shearer. Also out are Jordan Stone, Christian Simeone, and Neil Robinson. We're still trying to figure out who the starters are for the Kansas City Mavericks. This face-off is in about 4 minutes from now. And it looks like the starters will get the starters for Utah in a little bit. Starters for Kansas City. Starting in net is going to be Shane Starrett, who's making his 4th appearance this season. Starrett's got a record of 2-0 with 1 shutout. That came last Saturday in Rapid City. So Starrett does have the ability to be pretty good. He's got a 1.24 goals against average and .941 save percentage. Starrett will be wearing number 40. He's got previous experience in this league with the Wichita Thunder. His backup will be Dylan Kelly. Starting defensively for the Mavericks, who've got a 2-1 record. They're 1-0 at home and 1-1 away from Cable Dahmer Arena. Josh Elms will be 1 starting defenseman. He is scoreless through 2 games, but has a +2 rating. Jordan Sambrook has 1 assist in 3 games. Sambrook wearing number 6. He's a big one at 6'3" and 205 pounds. Sambrook last season played with the Florida Everblades and a little bit in the AHL with the Charlotte Checkers. Starting forwards for the Mavericks, Laurent Ouellette, starting his 5th season with Kansas City. Ouellette's the guy that would drop the gloves if anybody does so tonight. He's 6 feet and 214 pounds. Hugo Waugh wears number 19. Last season, he played with the Atlanta Gladiators and a little bit with the AHL's Belleville Senators, which is where Kyle Betts and Matthew Boucher are currently playing. Waugh will be wearing number 19, and they'll be lined up next to Luke Morgan. Morgan, number 25, he played his college hockey at Michigan, where he was a teammate of Dakota Rabies. So starting defensemen for Kansas City are Josh Elms and Jordan Sambrook. Starting forwards are Laurent Ouellette, Hugo Waugh, and Luke Martin. The Kansas City leading scorer this season is Pascal LeBerg, wearing number 29. He's got 6 points this season, 2 goals and 4 assists. We mentioned Dakota Rabies' college teammate, Luke Morgan, who's starting for the Mavericks. Also watch out for Nick Pastajov, who's got 3 goals and 2 assists. Pastajov is a Michigan man. In fact, Nick Pastajov's brother, Michael Pastajov, plays for the Idaho Steelheads. He was not in the lineup last weekend as he's on injured reserve. And also watch out for Jeremy McKenna, who had a hat trick. He had 3 goals and 1 assist in the Kansas City Mavericks season opening game. I think that was against the Tulsa Oilers, as McKenna was outstanding that night as the Mavericks got a victory. And that's against Kansas City. They ended up scoring a lot of goals that evening. It's the Grizzlies and the Mavericks coming up next, as we'll come back in 30 seconds and have face-off over at Cable Dahmer Arena. You're listening to the Grizzlies Hockey Network.
When you pay with the Nitro card at Maverik, you always save 10 cents or more on fuel every gallon, every day. And you could save a whole lot more thanks to Nitro Best Price. Pick up a Nitro card and upgrade your Adventure Club account today.
Maverik's new bean-to-cup machines always deliver a freshly ground cup of coffee on demand, so you can enjoy any of our premium roasts at their best, day or night, hot or iced. Enjoy a fresh cup today.
It's a great night for hockey. It's 2 big standings points are on the line between the Grizzlies and the Kansas City Mavericks. I'm Tyson Whiting. During the intermissions, we might hear from Guy Carenza if we can get our microphones loosened up, as we're using separate microphones for the Flow Sports and YouTube feeds. YouTube with the audio and Flow Sports with the video. And we certainly thank everybody for tuning in on a Tuesday night, a rare Tuesday game for the Grizzlies, 1 of 3 in the league. Starting defensive pairing for Utah, the captain, Connor McDonald, who leads the club with a +2 rating. He'll be lined up with Bryson Martin. Starting forwards are Keaton Jamison, Ben Tardif, and Brandon Cutler. Cutler wore number 29 last season, but he'll be wearing number 40 for the Grizzlies this year. Well, the lineup sheet I had says the referee is Sam Heidemann. The linesmen are Benjamin Golick and Quinn Schaefer. Schaefer and Golick, the linesman, and Heidemann, the referee. I certainly hope the cameraman decides to zoom in on this broadcast, or we could have a heck of a battle as we're on the remote feed, and we'll just try to do the best we can. It's our first remote feed of the year as we were in Boise last weekend. Looks like the Grizzlies were wearing the black jerseys with white numbers, a little bit of white on the elbows, and professional green trim. The Mavericks wearing an orange jersey with white on the shoulders, a little bit white on the bottom of the jersey. As Shane Starrett will be in net wearing number 40, as Brandon Cutler will take the face-off against Hugo Waugh. Sam Heideman's the referee tonight, as he'll talk with both teams, and he'll drop the puck, and we're underway on a Tuesday night. And the draw won by Kansas City, who dumps it in. Grizzlies skate from right to left as we see it on Flow Sports. Your mind's eye see it on YouTube. Over to the left point, Mavericks spin it around the boards. Grizzlies get it out to center ice. And dumping it in is Keaton Jamison, as Josh Helms overskates it, and he'll toss it towards the near boards. Cutler skates over there and spins it back towards the right side. Tardif takes the puck. He's had success against Kansas City in the past. Over to the left point, Martin with a shot, saved by Starrett. Rebound goes to the corner. Cutler flips it high into the air, bounces to Tardif, who nudges it across to Martin. Kansas City pokes it, and it goes back to center ice. Puck bounces off the far boards. McDonald shuffles it back towards Maverick territory. Mavericks make their first line change of the game, and so too the Grizzlies, as Utah back deep in their own zone, skating from right to left. As we're 50 seconds into the game, Utah one shot, Kansas City's yet to take one. Utah dumps into the near side, and oh boy, it looks like the Tulsa camera operator now works for Kansas City. Nilsson dumps into the right corner. Raby chasing after it in his first shift of the game. Kansas City over towards the far goal line. Now they'll spin it back around to the near side as the Mavericks from left to right get it out to neutral ice. They'll nudge it ahead, and it bounces off a stick and goes towards Nate Klurman. Klurman towards the right corner, and the Grizzlies will nudge it ahead to neutral ice. Utah crossing center. Pfizer in the area. Puck ends up bouncing back towards Dakota Raby. Raby gets it to Pfizer. Pfizer just outside his offensive line. He'll bounce it off a Maverick skater as he was trying to dump it in deep. As the Mavericks towards the right side nudge it to their offensive corner and get around Connor McDonald. Connor boxes him out pretty nicely as the Mavericks skate towards the left corner. Connor knocks him down. No call, says the referee, as both teams battle along the far side in Grizzlies territory. As the Mavericks roll it around the boards, cut off by Parikh behind his net. Parikh making his fourth straight start as it rolls back to the right point. Kansas City keeps it in. They'll take a shot. That's blocked by Klurman. Grizzlies get it ahead. Utah crosses center ice 2-on-4, and the Grizz just drive it over to the left corner and make a line change. 2 minutes into the game, still no score. Grizzlies one shot. Kansas City yet to take one. As the puck ends up to the right side offensive zone, Utah tried to feed it across to Martin, and Kansas City picked it off. Mavericks skate around their own net. Theo Calvis, number 7, will nudge it to the far corner. Mavericks get it out to center ice, left wing. 2-on-3. Mavericks dump it in. Big-time hit at the Utah blue line. And the Grizz nudge it towards Tyler Penner, number 21. Now left point, Mavericks feed it across. It deflects off a stick and goes out of play off the protective netting. 17:26 left in the first. Still no score. Josh Lamon on the ice for Kansas City. He's got 1 assist in 3 games. Lamon last season played for the Cardiff Devils, but before that has some experience in this league. Actually, he played for Kansas City and a little bit with the Ontario Reign. It was another player. Actually, Lamon did play for Cardiff, but he does have some experience with Allen in this league before. As off the draw, Mavericks with a shot that gets blocked as the puck is in the Grizzlies zone, far side. Now Utah takes control of it as they get it out to center ice, 1-on-2. Grizz will skate towards the left side. That's Tardif. He'll take a shot, and that one goes wide as he was trying to go glove side on Starrett. Now Utah to the right side. Tardif gets hit but keeps his feet. Skates towards the right circle. Take a shot. Saved by Starrett. Rebound goes to the far goal line. Kansas City gets it, and they'll skate around their net. Now the Mavericks will nudge it off the far boards to center ice. Kansas City looks to center it. Kicked off back to the left circle. Mavericks get pushed by Jamison as they skate towards the corner. As Josh Lamon throws it around the net. Now I try to get it back to Lamon, but he was skating the other way. Now the Grizz. Cutler crosses center ice, and they'll dump it into the right corner from the left side. Kansas City back up with it. Jake McLaughlin, number 27. He's a defenseman for Kansas City. First year with the club. Crosses center ice and dumps it in. McLaughlin is 6'2" and 190 pounds. Now the Mavericks around the net. As we got a graphic with us being mentioned right there. Alex LeMay, his first season broadcasting games for Kansas City. As it goes out to center ice. Grizzlies throw it towards the middle. Now Pfizer veers off to the right. He'll take a shot. Saved by Starrett. Rebound goes to the far side. As they're battling behind the net, 2 Grizzlies and 2 Mavericks, as Kansas City will skate towards the far side and get hit. Grizzlies battling. Pfizer in the area with a good shift as Kansas City will nudge it back to center ice. Good hard-working shift by Taryn Pfizer, but the Mavericks are able to dump it back towards the Grizzlies zone. Now long-range pass, looking for Zach Sekos, but it goes to the near corner. Sekos in the area battling with Theo Calvis. Now Utah skates back towards their offensive point and loses it as Calvis will retreat, and he'll throw a left-wing pass. Grizzlies poke it away at the Kansas City blue line. Now Jamison tries to locate the puck. Now he does and fires towards Sterrett. Shane will give it over to Theo Calvis. Calvis with a long-range pass. It doesn't connect. And icing is on the Mavericks. 15:34 left in the first. Been a good back-and-forth battle. Grizzlies up to 4 shots. Pfizer had a couple good looks. Kansas City's yet to take one. We know there's a lot of sports and entertainment options out there. We appreciate you choosing the Grizzlies tonight. Make sure to follow the Grizzlies on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm on Twitter at Tyson on Sports. Cutler will take the draw for Utah. This time it's won by Kansas City. Mavericks will lift it high into the air over the head of Bryson Martin, and Preek will let it go to his left as it goes past the goal line for another icing call, this time with 15:27 left here in the first, as Nate Clerman looks like he's wearing an A on his sweater tonight, as James Shearer looks like he's going to be out of the lineup for a while. Dylan Fitz also has an A for the Grizzlies, and Connor McDonald is the captain this season. Cutler will take the draw once again against Nick Passageov. Watch out for him. He scored quite a few goals for Kansas City last year. He was a college teammate of Dakota Rabies. Passageov seems like he's got a pretty good wrist shot from what I've seen last season. As the Mavericks win the faceoff, they've done a good job against Utah in the faceoff circle here in the first period. As Kansas City nudges to the right side, Mavericks dump it in, but Clerman gets the puck. He'll feed it across to Nielsen. Nielsen ahead as Utah gets to Keaton Jamison. Jamison crosses center ice down the middle. Now throw it to the left for Clerman. Nate with a shot. Saved by Sterrett, and he holds on as Nate skated towards the left circle on a pass from Jamison. He was wide open. It looked like Nate wanted to go 5-hole on Sterrett, but the experienced goaltender for Kansas City makes the stop. Shane Sterrett, 28 years old. He played overseas last year, but he's got quite a bit of experience in this league, and he's off to a good start for Kansas City. He has seen 5 shots. Lucas Preek's yet to see one 5 minutes in. Zach Sekos will talk with the Grizzlies defenseman. He's got Pfizer to his left and Raby to his right. And the draw won by Hugo Waugh. Kansas City in their own zone, skating from left to right. As Gillette will bounce it off the far boards. Now the Grizzlies. Raby will drop it off for the right point. Utah fires the lefty shot that gets blocked in front of Sterrett. Kansas City will clear it out towards their bench area, and it looks like it goes out of play. Good defensive work by Jake Jaremko, number 15. Jaremko last season played for the Kelly Cup champion, Florida Everblades. Tad O'Had came from the Florida as an assistant to Kansas City, and he's in his 3rd year coaching the Mavericks. 14:51 left in the first. Utah 5 shots. Kansas City yet to take one. Sekos will take the draw, but it's Kansas City that wins it. Oh, Mavericks won quite a few faceoffs in the first 5 minutes of play. Now the Grizzlies. Left side, take a shot, saved by Sterrett. And puck ends up going to the right side. Pfizer in the area, but the Mavericks have control as they'll feed it to the right side. Kansas City does have a big set of defensemen. Mavericks will nudge it in. Hugo Waugh chasing after it. Connor McDonald spins it around the boards. Pfizer battling, and he'll nudge it ahead. Grizzlies get it out towards center ice, but get divorced from the puck as it's at the end of a shift. Grizzlies will change up forwards, 14:19 left and counting, as Kansas City loses the puck at neutral ice. Puck ends up going back to McLaughlin. Jake's his first name, and he played for Florida and a little bit of Milwaukee last season. As the Mavericks cross center ice, Utah tried to get it back towards right. Now the Grizz enter into the zone. Right side, Penner with a shot, and he scores! Dylan Fitz gets his first of the year as he was out there with Cameron Wright and Penner. And Fitz, who was outstanding for the Grizz in the playoffs, gets Utah on the board with 13:59 left in the first. Well, I knew Penner was on the ice, but it was Fitz that skated along the right side into the circle. Looked like he was going to skate towards the corner, but he had a shooting angle and fired away. So Fitz, the assistant captain, has made it a 1-0 game. He scored 6 or 7 goals in the postseason, and that's his first this year. Utah leads 1-0. Penner will take the face-off. Wright's out there along with Fitz. As the Grizz score first on their 6th shot, Kansas City yet to take one. As the Mavericks towards the left side, crossing center ice, Utah will dump it back in onto Sterrett, who gloves it, and the quick whistle by the referee, even though I can't hear the whistle tonight, but it looks like play has stopped. 13:48 left in the first. Dylan Fitz gives the Grizzlies a 1-0 lead. We're back in 30 seconds on the Grizzlies Hockey Network, presented by Rio Tinto. Dylan Fitz gives Utah a 1-0 lead. Time of goal, 6:01 into the first period. We're not yet sure about the assist. We do know that Utah has outshot Kansas City 6-0. Fitz has 2 of the 6 shots. Pfizer, Martin, Klerman, and Tardif have the other shots for Utah. Lucas Parikh is just kind of dancing around in his crease, waiting for some action. I know Lucas might be a better goaltender when he sees more shots. Saturday against Idaho was actually the fewest shots he has seen in his 3 starts, and he stopped 21 of 25. He's actually more effective, it seems like, with the more shots and the more engaged he is into the game. So that might be the challenge for Lucas, as shots might be at a premium for Kansas City if the trend continues. As the Grizz will take the face-off, Cameron Wright will take the draw as Utah leads 1-0. As the Grizz in the offensive zone, Klerman will toss it off the boards. Mavericks get it. They cross center ice. Left wing will skate towards the corner. As they're being shadowed by Fitz. Mavericks with a lefty shot that goes wide. As Theo Calvis tried to keep it in. Delayed offside, so the Grizz will touch it and skate around Parikh's net. As Utah skates it out to neutral ice. Now they cross center. Tardif will gain the line from the right side. He'll skate towards the circle. Take a shot. Saved by Starrett. Rebound goes towards the back of the net as Kansas City skates around it. Mavericks will have numbers 4-on-3. They enter the zone left side, and they'll dump it in. Good job by Klerman, who I think got a piece of one. Like camera angle playing a little bit high here tonight as the Grizz cross center ice. Mavericks back 2-on-4. Grizzlies skate towards the corner. Big time hit as Tardif rolls it around back towards the left side. Nilsson in the area along with Cameron Wright. Wright tries to get around a defenseman. Centering pass shot. It goes wide on a backhand attempt as looked like Wright was trying to feed it to Fitz. Now to the right side. Grizzlies look to center it, and it gets poked away. Now Utah on the right side. Skates towards the goal line now around the net as Utah throws it to the left side for Nilsson, but the puck exits the zone. Kansas City gets it. As the Mavericks 3-on-3, they'll step over the offensive line, roll it from the left point onto Parikh, and Lucas covers up as maybe it looked like Kansas City was looking for a centering pass that didn't connect, or the Mavericks, at the very worst, get an offensive zone draw. 12:29 left in the first. Utah has 7 shots. Kansas City has yet to officially take one on Parikh. They had a couple looks that went wide of the net. First of a 3-game set. 2 days off, and then these teams will meet on Friday night. As the Grizz win the face-off, they spin it back around towards the near boards. Cam Strong will dump it in. Racing after it's Johnny Walker, one of his first shifts tonight. Walker collides with the boards, trying to hit Jake McLaughlin. Over to the left corner, Walker gets pinned. Strong in the area, and Walker comes out of it with the puck as he'll feed it to the left point. Grizz near the boards, trying to get it back to the corner. Walker vacated it. Kansas City will attack 3-on-3. Mavericks to the left side, to the point. They try to get it to the slot, and a bouncing puck onto Parikh. Kansas City couldn't handle it. Utah will feed it off the near boards. Theo Calvis throws it to the corner. Kansas City gets it up top. Left side, Mavericks with a righty shot. Saved by Parikh. Rebound, everybody's hacking away. And it looks like Lucas is covered up as Strong and Martin protect their goaltender as Kansas City looking for some action. And it looks like the Mavericks being pretty aggressive as Martin's got somebody by the jersey. It looks like Pascal LeBerg battling with Keaton Jamison in front. Good job by the Grizzlies defensive unit as it looked like Kansas City had a second chance. Passagov and Nilsson now exchange words. Passagov didn't have a helmet. And we'll see. It looks like there might be some penalties. Maybe Nilsson for the Grizzlies and Passagov for Kansas City. Grizzlies doing a good job protecting their goaltender. And really, it seems like in the modern-day ECHL, that's where you're going to see most of your physical action as Passagov will skate to the Rogers and Russell Legal Solutions holding cell. And it looks like Nilsson might do the same for the Grizzlies. Rogers and Russell Legal Solutions remind you that when life tries to put you in the penalty boxes, Nilsson is in right now for Utah and Passagov for Kansas City. It is important you had the best legal counsel in your corner. Rogers and Russell Legal Solutions, so you can rest and relax. And that was a good sequence for Kansas City, who are now up to 3 shots. And there was a lot of action out in front. Kansas City looking for a second chance there to get on the board and tie the game as Utah's up 1-0. Nilsson and Passagov are in the box. And it looks like we're skating 4-on-4 for 2 minutes. As the Grizz win the draw, Pfizer in his own zone. Grizzlies want to be slow with their attack and methodical as they want to see if they can find a way to take a 2-0 lead as Utah crosses center ice 1-on-3. Pfizer skates towards the right side, stops before the corner, falls down, and Kansas City comes back the other way. 3-on-3, Mavericks attack from the left side. They try to feed it out in front, and Utah picked it off. I think that was Nate Klerman. Boy, the camera angle is just a little bit too wide to tell who's who. or either there I need glasses. I don't know. As the Grizz to neutralize cross center. Utah gains the line. Sekos will skate towards his right. Now back it out to neutralizes. Looks like 3 Mavericks are chasing after him. Now Sekos back in his own zone. He'll get it to the captain. Connor will skate around the net. Less than 11 minutes left in the first period. Utah leads 1-0 as Dylan Fitz scored 6 minutes in. As McDonald rolls it around. Sterrett cuts it off, and he'll feed it to the near side. As Theo Calvis will throw it back to another defenseman. Now the Mavericks nudge it ahead. Jeremy McKenna. He'll carry it into the left side. McKenna will stop just outside the circle. I'll center it wide open. Righty shot. Saved by Parikh. Oh, what a glove stop by Lucas. As Kansas City had Sandbrook wide open on the left side. He was just walking in, waiting for his opportunity. He went glove side on Lucas, and Lucas shut it down. No, senor, says Lucas, the native of the Czech Republic. Actually, I don't think he said no, senor, but nevertheless, faceoff's going to be in the left circle as the Mavericks had their best look of the game on Lucas Parikh. But as we've seen, Lucas got a quick glove. Grizz win the draw. They're in their own zone, skating 4-on-4 for the next 45 seconds. As Utah deep in their own zone, going with 11 forwards and 6 defensemen tonight. Utah will start the attack from the near side. Grizz skating from right to left. Dakota Raby crosses center ice and he dumps it in. Raby stops in the corner. Kansas City blows a tire. Raby throws to Kyle Pouncey. Pouncey skates towards his right, drops it off. I think that's Bryce Martin, and it is. He'll spin it back around. Right corner. Raby over to right. Right wearing number 15. He's got 1 goal this season. He'll skate towards his left, drop it off. Now the Grizz. Martin with a lefty shot. On it goes just wide. Sterrett will throw it towards the near corner. 10 seconds left of 4-on-4 action. Kansas City gets around Martin. Skates towards the right circle. Mavericks with a righty shot. Saved by Parikh. And Lucas holds on as the Mavericks were able to get around Bryson Martin and had a good look. But Parikh makes a stop. He saved all 4 so far. 9:48 left in the first. There's a timeout on the ice. Utah leads 1-0 on the Grizzlies Hockey Network, presented by Rio Tinto.
If you're out driving and something happens to your car, truck, or even wheelchair, and you end up stuck at a rail crossing, it's going to be okay. Don't panic. Here's what you do. Get out if you can and look for this blue sign on the metal pole. Call the number on the blue sign, and when they answer, tell them the crossing number. The number is right here. This tells them the exact location of the crossing. This is the fastest way to get trains stopped before coming through the crossing. Look for the blue. It helps you.
When you pay with the Nitro card at Maverik, you always save 10 cents or more on fuel every gallon, every day. And you could save a whole lot more thanks to Nitro Best Price. Pick up a Nitro card and upgrade your Adventure Club account today.
Utah leads 1-0. Dylan Fitz right now, it's listed unassisted, 6:01 into the contest. And that's the only scoring. Utah's outshot Kansas City 7-4. Grizzlies took the first 7 shots of the game. Kansas City has taken the last 4. Sandbrook, Passagov, Watt, and LeBerg have Kansas City shots. 1 each. Dylan Fitz has 3 of Utah's 7 shots, including the goal, 6:01 in. Utah wins the draw. We're back to 5-on-5 skating as Nielsen for the Grizzlies and Passagov for Kansas City's out of the box. As Brandon Cutler enters from the left side, he'll skate towards the boards. He looked to feed it across, and it kicked off a Kansas City skate and goes back to the Utah blue line. Grizzlies look for a blue line to blue line pass. Kansas City picks it off. Mavericks skate to the right side, look to center. Grizzlies have 3 bodies in the way. A stick goes flying into the corner, and the Grizz clear it all the way out. Running it down is Tommy Muck, who played with Kansas City last year, 26 years old, from Minnesota native. As he'll get it over to McKenna. Jeremy takes a shot, and that one gets blocked. Grizzlies come back the other way. As Tardif crosses center ice, dumps it in. Jamison tried to get around it. Taken by Theo Calvis, who's 6'5", 214. He's a good player. Kansas City will enter the attacking zone. Big-time hit as McDonald goes flying. Now Kansas City, Keegan Howdeshell, number 17, spins it around. Howdeshell's the one that delivered the hit to McDonald. Now to the right side, Kansas City gets it back across. McDonald picks it off. Utah up ahead off the near boards, looking for Ben Tardif. Tardif races down there, and icing is called as Tardif was looking to get the pass on the left side, couldn't reach for it. McLaughlin skated down there and was able to negate the icing, showing some pretty good speed. And notice they do call it pretty tightly, and we talked about in the playoffs last year that when in doubt, they're going to make the icing call, and they're not going to let it go. So even though I think a lot of fans would probably think in that case that icing should be waved off, really when it seems like you got a tie or anything like that, they're going to call icing more times than not. Draws in the right circle. Tyler Penner will take it. Utah comes away with the puck as they'll bounce it off the near glass. Penner in the area as he chips it ahead, but the only guy there is a Maverick. He'll cross center ice and dump it in. Preek stays in front of his net as Penner nudges it ahead. And now it's taken by Tardif. He'll feed it across. Utah to neutral ice, crosses center. Bryson Martin dumps it in, and Dylan Fitz chases after it. He collides over along the far boards, and it goes back towards the left corner. Grizzlies on the near side. Kansas City tries to chip it across, and they do to Dalton Galley, wearing number 52. Galley, 6'5", 227 pounds, played for Worcester last season. And now towards the left side, shot saved by Sterrett. I think that was Dylan Fitz that had his fourth shot of the first period. 7:55 left in the first. If you're talking about forwards who have really contributed for the Grizzlies here so far, you got to look to Dylan Fitz, who not only has the only goal of the game so far, but he's been very active on the offensive side of things, and he also plays a pretty good two-way game. So Dylan Fitz having hit by far his best period with the Grizzlies this season. Sekos will take the draw. Pfizer is to his left, and I think that's Raby to his right off the screen. Utah wins the offensive zone face-off. Grizz over to the right side at the point. Get it across to Nielsen. He'll bounce it off the end boards. Sekos in the corner as he'll skate towards the point. And now from the left side, rims it around the boards. Kansas City in the right corner gets it as the Grizzlies will start to retreat defensively as the Mavericks are behind their net, and they'll feed it out to the far side. Bouncing, Grizzlies keep it in the offensive zone. Raby feeds it across to Pfizer, who couldn't handle it. Now Terran regathers it, throws to Nilsson, and Nilsson looked to feed it towards the end boards, and it deflects off a stick and goes out of play. 7:23 left in the first. Utah leads 1-0. As the Grizz, according to the score bug on the left side on Flow Sports, has 7 shots. Kansas City has taken 4. Looks like kind of a lighter crowd on a Tuesday night. And in the case of these type of atmospheres, midweek game, you just got to find a way to bring your own juice, bring your own energy. Fitz has 4 of the 8 shots for Utah, even though the score bug just has it 7 shots. Fitz has been outstanding in this first period. Mavericks win the draw, skate out to center ice. Kansas City dumps it into the right corner as there's a collision. Utah comes away with it, and they start skating from right to left. Grizz cross center ice. They gain the offensive line and nudge it to the corner. Mavericks run after it. Theo Calvis has been active this first period. Dangerous pass towards the slot. Kansas City tries to nudge it out of the zone. Utah kept it in the high slot. Now they feed it to the corner. Wright gets it around to Tardif. Ben on the right side. He skates towards the point. He'll drop it off to the right point. McDonald with a shot, and that gets blocked about 5 feet in front of Sterrett as the Mavericks towards the far side, want to patiently get it out of the zone. They'll feed it out to neutral ice. Grizz get it back. Utah gains the line. Tardif will skate towards the left corner. Now he'll stop in the corner, gets pushed, keeps his feet. Tardif trying to get it over to Kyle Pouncey, but instead he throws to the circle. Kansas City picks it off. Mavericks will carry it out to center ice. Grizzlies back defensively, 2-on-3. Big time hit delivered by McDonald on the far side, knocking down Kansas City. McDonald taking the puck away. Now the Grizz will get it ahead to center ice. Utah nudges it in. I think that Dylan Fitz has been outstanding this first period. Already with 4 shots and 1 goal. Puck is in the corner. Kansas City comes out of the pile with the puck. Loren Yolette will skate north-south. He'll feed it over to the left side. Mavericks will gain the line. Hit by Joey Colatarchi in his Grizzlies season debut. And over to the left side. Lefty shot. And looks like Preek makes the save, as that one was taken by Tristan Mullen, number 26. Mullen last season played in the AHL with the Cleveland Monsters. 5:58 left in the first, and it's time for us to talk about the next homestand, which will be upcoming. It will be a 6-game homestand. And note that it's going to be a rare Thursday home game for the Grizzlies on November 17th. That's the next home game for the Grizz. The annual Pooch on the Pond is going to be on Friday, November 18th. Friday, November 18th is the annual Pooch on the Pond. Go to UtahGrizzlies.com, as that's the rare game where you can bring your dog to Maverik Center and enjoy the action in a special section with other dogs. And it seems like I saw quite a few dogs in the Grizzlies office earlier today. I saw Molly Kanasowicz, the dog of Ryan Kanasowicz, the Grizzlies head coach. I saw Molly in the office all day, and so it's good to see her. I gave her a few treats. I got to remember to bring some more treats for Molly if she's going to be here tomorrow. Looking forward to Pooch on the Pond. That's Friday, November 18th, as the Grizzlies take on the Idaho Steelheads. Then that series will conclude with a Sunday game on November 20th. And note the special time. Sunday games this season will start at 3 o'clock. In previous years, they started at 1. 5:56 is left in the first period. Utah leads 1-0. First of a 3-game series and third game of this 8-game road trip. Utah is currently 1-1 on the road trip and 2-2 overall. Grizz win the face-off. They're in the defensive zone. Dylan Fitz will nudge it ahead. He's got 4 of the Grizzlies' 8 shots tonight. Now the Grizz skate around the net. Johnny Walker gets spun around. Kansas City takes it. They skate towards the near side. We haven't had a single power play each way. We had 2 minutes of 4-on-4 action as the Mavericks skate into the offensive zone. Grizzlies poke it right back out to neutral ice along the near boards near the penalty box. Mavericks will nudge it ahead. Kansas City to the right side gets around Martin. Now he'll skate towards the slot. Utah commits a penalty. Joey Colatarchi pleads his case, but the Mavericks were in the left circle. Skated towards the slot. Getting knocked down was Jake Jaremko. And it looks like he's drawn Kansas City their first power play of the contest. Colatarchi's the one that argued his case. Is he the one going to the penalty box? That looks like Bryson Martin is, number 14. Martin will sit for 2 minutes. Not sure, we didn't get to see the signal from the referee, but Martin broke a hockey rule, and he's going to be in the Rogers and Russell Legal Solutions holding cell. 5:24 is left in the first period. According to the score bug that we're seeing on Flow Sports, Utah's stuck at 7 shots, although I think they do have 8, according to the ECHL app, with Dylan Fitz taking 4 of them. Mavericks win the face-off. They are 4 for 12 so far on the power play this season. It's their 4th game of the year. Mavericks in the corner as Kansas City spreads the ice. They feed it up top for Jake McLaughlin as he'll get it to the near side. Pascal LeBerg gets it to the left side. Grizzlies poking out to center as they were active with their sticks in the Idaho series. Grizz, 10 for 13 so far this season on the penalty kill. Kansas City takes it away and re-enter the zone. Left side, they try to center it, picked off by Sekos, and the Grizz will successfully clear it out as Taryn Fizer flipped it high into the air, and off the screen is Shane Starrett. Towards the near side, we'll get it back to McLaughlin. He'll skate from left to right as the Mavericks still on the power play. McLaughlin towards the near side will drop it off as Kansas City now gets to the left side. Now they feed the middle. Jeremy McKenna skates down the middle. He'll veer off to the left. McKenna with a backhand shot, saved by Parikh. Lucas holds on. 1:05 left in the Kansas City power play. Watch out for McKenna. He was outstanding in the Kansas City season opener with 3 goals and 1 assist in a victory against Tulsa. That was the first home game for Kansas City. They were on the road for 2 games last week against Rapid City, and now it's Kansas City's second home game of the season. Looks like Lucas Parikh skated towards the bench to get it, looked like his helmet repaired by the Grizzlies trainer, or maybe the equipment manager, Mason Wayland. The trainer is Colin Lee, who's in his 3rd season with the Grizz. 4:28 left in the first. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast as it's the first remote broadcast of the season. First intermission, we'll give you a recap of the scoring as Bryson Martin's still in the penalty box for Utah and Kansas City still on the power plays. Parikh gets a little bit of repair from Mason Wayland, who gets some TV time on Flow Sports. You can always tell Mason because he's got the long hair. In fact, fun story, Mason's long hair actually got us a ride home from Rapid City as we were but it was a cold night in Rapid City. We're going to walk back to the hotel. Rush head coach Scott Burt recognized Mason with the long hair, stopped, and gave us a ride back to the hotel. So thanks for Mason for not cutting his hair as Parikh gets repairs. And how about the way Lucas has played? He's made some outstanding glove saves so far. According to the score bug, only 4 shots, even though I think he's probably seen about 5 or 6 by this point in the game. Last season, he was Rapid City's starter. He faced Kansas City a few times, and I think the Grizzlies are happy to have him. Now, remember Trent Miner, after last Friday's game, he was recalled to Colorado of the AHL as they're continuing to repair Lucas Parikh's helmet as Kansas City's in the middle of a power play. Mason Wayland doing quite a bit of repair work to make sure that Parikh can get his helmet back to where it needs to be so he can do his job. Parikh wearing number 35. We mentioned Miner is currently in the AHL. The backup tonight is Garrett Metcalf, and I imagine we'll see Garrett at some point this week. Remember, the last game that Garrett played was March 12th, which is actually the last time the Grizzlies faced the Mavericks. Utah won 6-3. Ben Tardif had a hat trick. Metcalf was outstanding in net. If I remember right, he was one of the 3 stars of the game, but then suffered a season-ending injury. In fact, he might have been playing hurt. I noticed he was favoring part of the upper body a little bit during that game. He might have been playing hurt that game against Kansas City and then missed the rest of the season. But we'll probably see Garrett in net as the Grizzlies last year went 6-3 against Kansas City. But it's kind of interesting when you think about the last 5 years. These teams have met 34 times over the last 5 seasons before tonight. Utah has won 17 games. Kansas City has won 17. It's been a very evenly played series historically between the Grizzlies and the Mavericks over the last 5 years. Well, it looks like Lucas's helmet has been repaired, and it looks like we're going to get back to live action. Left circle face-off, 4:28 left in the first. Keaton Jamison will take the draw against Jake Jeremko. Actually, Jamison looks like he's kicked out of the face-off circle. Now taking the draw and entering the screen is Ben Tardif. And Jeremko wins the face-off. Kansas City will feed it over to the right side. Hugo Waugh gets up top for Tommy Muck. Muck back to Waugh. Now he gets up top for Muck. He'll skate towards the middle. Now he'll feed it to the left side. Now back to Muck, who's on the right side. He'll skate towards the high slot. He'll feed it to the left circle. Now back up top for Muck as the Mavericks get it to Waugh on the right side, and he'll feed it up top for Muck. Muck will get it to the left side. One-timer, saved by Parikh. Lucas's helmet falls off, and we get a whistle, 3:59 left in the first. Oh, I thought his helmet fell off. I'm not sure if it did or not. As Lucas was able to make the save, looks like his helmet did stay on his head, as he did have some repairs on his helmet. 3:59 left in the first, 35 seconds left in the power play. Cutler will take the faceoff against Waugh in the right circle, and it's won by Kansas City. Mavericks done a great job in the faceoff circle in the first period. Mavericks get it up top for Waugh as Keaton Halgashell's on the ice as well. Now Kansas City skates in. Halgashell around the net as he'll feed it towards the near side. Now Kansas City gets it around the boards. Waugh has it. 15 seconds left in the power play. He'll get it up top for Muck. Muck will skate towards his left, feed it across to Waugh. He tries to redirect it. Shot. And that one goes wide as he tried to redirect it with Halgashell. Now the puck towards the near goal line. Kansas City gets it across, but they fan on a one-time attempt. And that will do it for the power plays. The puck is still deep in the Grizzly zone. Kansas City centering pass. Shot, and it gets blocked. Great defensive play. I think that was Nate Clerman. Clerman has it in the left corner. He's out there with Connor McDonald. As exiting the penalty box is Colatarchi. I think he skated towards the bench. As the Mavericks towards the high slot, skate down the middle. They try to nudge it to the left. Utah knocks him down. We're back to even strength. No call on that play. As there's 3 minutes left in the first, Grizzlies will dump it in, but not all the way to the goal line for icing. Grizz make a full line change. Utah leads 1-0 as Kansas City gets it to the right side. Skating around is Luke Morgan, around a skater. Now Morgan battling behind the net with Penner as Kansas City to the right side tries to feed it towards the net and fans on it. Now to the high slot. Mavericks with a righty shot. That gets blocked on the way to Parikh. Kansas City centers it. Utah's got a guy there. They feed it over to the far side. Mavericks try to get it to Ouellette as he was near the blue line on the offensive side. Utah will poke it back to center. 2-on-2. Grizz try to get it across. It's on the right side looking for a centering pass. Strong shot. Saved by Starrett as Kansas City comes away with it. Luke Morgan in his near corner feeds it across. 2:15 left in the first. Utah's up 1-0. Kansas City crosses center ice. Morgan gets around Penner, and he couldn't split the quadruple team as 4 guys were surrounding Morgan. Utah takes a puck away. Grizz back deep in their own zone. Bryson Martin over in his near corner. He's got McDonald to his left, but Martin will nudge it ahead as it goes out to center ice. Kansas City will pick up the puck, and they'll feed it across to Calvis on the right side. He'll get it ahead. Kansas City steps over the line. Pascal LeBerg will feed it to the corner as Kansas City over in the corner being shadowed by McDonald. Now Sekos battling with Kansas City as the Mavericks still have the puck. As looks like Sekos delivers a hit, and Jeremy McKenna gets pushed along the boards. Now Kansas City tries to feed the middle and bounces towards the right side. Now behind the net. Kansas City gets it to the left. Now back up top. 1:25 left. Calvis on the right side. He tries to feed it across. Utah picks it off. Grizz get it out to center ice, off the boards. Chasing after it's Raby as he tries to get around Calvis. Calvis hits Raby along the glass, and the glass shakes a little bit as a puck looks like it's now out of play as Calvis and Raby collided in the corner. Calvis has got a few inches. I don't know if he hit him up a little bit too high to get a penalty, but Calvis, instead of skating to the penalty box, will instead skate towards his bench as 1:12 is left in the first. I'm not entirely sure what caused the whistle, but that's part of the remote broadcast experience sometimes. We're skating 5-on-5, draws in the left circle. We'll recap the first period here shortly and give you some scores from around the world of sports. As Cutler will take the face-off against Hugo Waugh. Cutler mostly played on the wings for Utah last year, but played a little bit of center in the WHL with Victoria. Grizz win the draw, rolls around to Tardif, who skates around the net. Tardif over in the corner. Grizzlies nudge it to the right point. Now back around the boards as Tardif looks nearby, left side, and rolls back to the near boards as Kansas City will feed it out to center. Less than 1 minute left in the first period. Utah drives it back in. Stirrup behind his net will give way as the Mavericks spin it along the far boards. Grizzlies keep it in the offensive zone. Kansas City pokes it back to center. Nielsen gets it, and he's in his own end. As he gets back checked, he'll hand it off to Tardif. Ben will get it to neutralize. Kansas City challenging at their offensive blue line, but the Grizz keep the puck. Wright will feed it over to a defenseman. 30 seconds left. Now ahead to Tardif. Ben gets it ahead, looking for Cutler. Kansas City picks it off. Mavericks feed it to the right side. Utah skates towards the near corner, and they'll clear it back out to center. In fact, they'll clear it off the screen. Kansas City enters the screen right now. Sandbrook will bounce it off the near boards. Mavericks skate towards the left side. They're in the left circle. They try to feed it out in front, and looks like Lucas has made the stop. Josh Lamon celebrating as if he had scored a goal. Don't see the goal light go off. Skating towards the bench is Cole Koski, and it looks like the Mavericks have gotten on the board here late in the first period. 7 seconds left. Koski is high-fiving everybody on the Kansas City bench. We didn't see the goal light go off. We saw a delayed celebration, but it looks like the Mavericks are celebrating as if they had scored a goal, and it looks like Koski high-fives everybody. We'll get a replay, hopefully, as the Mavericks look to tie up the game. Kansas City got to the left side. There was a lot of traffic, and then Martin with the hit towards Koski, and it's still it's hard to say whether a goal scored because obviously with the view we saw, we didn't see a goal light. We didn't see the signal from the referee. It doesn't look like they've signaled anything yet. The referee and 2 linesmen are looking it over. Kansas City trying to figure out if they tied up the game or not. Looks like they're going to go to replay. And unfortunately, I can't hear the natural sounds from Kansas City tonight as I don't have that type of headphone in. So we'll see if the Mavericks have tied up the game or not. 7 seconds are left. It looks like the lights have gone off in Kansas City as if they're going to celebrate a goal. And it would be Cole Koski, his first of the season. And it does look like it's a good goal according to the official. As Kansas City looks like they've tied up the game as the shot was taken from the left side. They fed it in front to Koski. Koski got hit by Martin in the crease. Martin started to celebrate the goal. The official put 2 hands in the air as if he didn't signal a goal, but after talking with the 2 linesmen, it appears the Mavericks have tied the game as they turn the lights out and do their normal in-arena entertainment goal-scoring sequence. It looks like they're on video replay right now. We saw one look, but the problem is the look we saw didn't show where the puck is. We saw Koski get nudged by Martin in the slot. We saw Parikh in the area. Parikh was a little bit more on the right side, so I could easily see Koski sneaking that thing in. Hopefully we get a better look to see definitively what it is, because it looks like the call on the ice is a good goal, and I don't know if there's going to be anything to overturn that. Koski would get the goal 1953, and the assist would go to Jake McLaughlin and Tristan Mullen. Mullen was the guy in the left circle that fed it in front to Koski, as McLaughlin was the one that threw the first pass from the slot over to the left circle. Referee comes out of his box, and he signals, well, he's going to announce it in Kansas City. And it's a good goal. The Mavericks are on the board with 7 seconds left in the first period. Koski will get his first of the year. McLaughlin and Tristan Mullen with the assist. It's Mullen's second assist of the year. It's also the second assist for McLaughlin. So the Grizzlies, who took the first 7 shots of the contest, but it's Kansas City that's come back. Now the Mavericks lead the shot count 10-8. As the Mavericks win the faceoff, 2 seconds left in the period. They'll throw it to the far side, and that will do it for 20 minutes over at Cable Dahmer Arena. The Grizzlies really dominated the play offensively the first 7 or 8 minutes. Dylan Fitz scored what's listed right now as unassisted, 6:01 in. But the second half of the first period, Kansas City dominated the shot count, and the last shot was taken by Dylan Fitz, and I think that was probably about 9 or 10 minutes into the game. Utah did not register a single shot in the second half of the first period, while Kansas City just kept plugging away. And they made a nice 2-pass sequence there where McLaughlin was in the slot, fed it to the left offensive circle for for Tristan Mullen. Mullen then fed it to a cutting Cole Kosk in front of the net. Bryson Martin tried to back check him, but it looked like Martin nudged Koski in towards Lucas Preek. We didn't really see the puck go into the back of the net, but according to the official, it turned into a good goal. It looked like the referee wasn't sure at first. Then he talked with the linesman, and then they went to video replay, but it looked like the original call on the ice was goal, and there must not have been anything to overturn that. So we're tied at 1. We'll recap the first period when we come back and go over some of the scores from around the league. And we'll also preview the rest of the road trip. And if we can figure out how to get the guy's microphone working, you know what? We'll talk with Guy Carenza, who's hanging out with me as well. We're tied at 1. First intermission from Cable Dahmer Arena. You're listening to the Grizzlies Hockey Network, presented by Siegfried and Jensen.
Mavericks' new bean-to-cup machines always deliver a freshly ground cup of coffee on demand, so you can enjoy any of our premium roasts at their best, day or night, hot or iced. Enjoy a fresh cup today.
First intermission over at Cable Dahmer Arena, tied at 1, Grizzlies and the Mavericks. I'm Tyson Whiting, hanging out here at Maverik Center. I'm just outside the team store. Guy Carenza is here as well. Hopefully we'll get Guy on here in a little bit. We got 2 separate microphones, one for Flow Sports and one for YouTube. And so it's been a lot of fun here tonight as the Siegfried and Jensen intermission report is on right now. Siegfried and Jensen, the law firm for accident victims. The Grizzlies, I felt, dominated maybe the first 9 or 10 minutes of that first period. Dylan Fitz got Utah on the board as he skated along the right wing boards, got towards the corner, kind of that range there, the right portion of the right circle into the corner, and he fired away. It seemed like he scored quite a few of his goals from that same spot. Remember the goal he scored in Game 2 against Rapid City, the second goal where he came on after Mason Manick lost his helmet. That was the one that I think made it a 1-goal game, and then Henry and Dastu scored 2 goals in the final minute. It is a pretty similar spot on the ice and probably a very similar shot to what he had against Rapid City. Fitz made it a 1-0 game. And how about Dylan Fitz? I think he was Utah's best player in the first period. Of Utah's 8 shots, Fitz had 4 of them, and he's a +1 so far. So I think by far this is Dylan Fitz's best period so far this season. As the Grizz and we made our first mistake there. If you're listening on Flow Sports, you heard me loud and clear, but I didn't turn down my thing on YouTube. And the great thing is, since we're on YouTube and you can see me, everybody's like, hey, you idiot, put your mic down. So Fitz, as I was saying, Fitz has been Utah's best player over the course of the first period. And he was pretty good in the playoff run for the Grizzlies last year as they made the Western Conference Finals. But, hey, credit Kansas City as it looked like they kept battling. Second half of the first period looked like they started to find their way offensively a little bit. Remember the shot count, I think with about 7 or 8 minutes in, Utah had 7 shots, and Kansas City had yet to take one. But the Mavericks end the first period with 10 shots to Utah's 8. So I'd say maybe the second half of that first period, Kansas City ended up shooting Utah 10-1 or something of that effect. And, it was still a 1-0 Utah lead. There was 2 minutes of 4-on-4 action as Andrew Nilsson and Nick Passagov each got matching roughing minors, 8:15 in. Kansas City got on the power play as Bryson Martin got 2 minutes for hooking. Grizz penalty kill did a good job there. And it looked like it was going to be 1-0 Grizzlies after 20 minutes of play. But with about 10 seconds left, Jake McLaughlin, one of Kansas City's defensemen, number 27. I think it's actually the first time that McLaughlin has played against the Grizzlies. He did play for Maine a little bit last year, and he was in the AHL with Wilkes-Barre Scranton. But McLaughlin was in the slot, and he fed it to the left side in the circle for Tristan Mullen. It looks like Mullen is actually being interviewed right now on the Kansas City broadcast on Flow Sports. Mullen then fed it out in front to Cole Koski, was just cutting in from the right side. Bryson Martin was back checking him, and it looked like Martin kind of nudged him from behind at about the same time where the puck would be, and it looked like the puck ended up trickling in. It didn't look like we had a perfect view of it, though, as Parikh was over on the right side, and it looked like initially the referee didn't signal anything. In fact, it looked like he put two hands in the air, and it was like, I'm not sure. And so then it looked like he went to talk with the two linesmen off the screen, and they came up with a good goal, made it 1-1, and then they checked on it, and it's possible if they got the same view I looked at and didn't get any other good look at it, it's possible that they didn't have anything to overturn it. So if the call on the ice was a good goal, there was going to be difficult to overturn the call. Now, if they would have said no goal on the play and then gone to video replay, it's possible it would have been tough to overturn that as well. Hard to really say, but it is possible that in Kansas City they were able to get a camera angle that we didn't see that would have definitely said that it was a good goal by Cole Koski, which turns out to be his first of the year. Koski last season played with the Worcester Railers. In fact, I think I remember seeing Koski when the Railers were at Maverik Center last February of last year. He also played a little bit with Bridgeport in the AHL. So we're tied at 1 in the first of a 3-game series. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting road trip. Now, remember, and I probably beat this horse to death during the preseason and even the first few regular season games, but when you think about the Grizzlies winning the division title last season, a big part of that was the Grizzlies winning 19 road games, which is the most in the Mountain Division. Utah right now is 1-1 on the road, and it's tough to win on the road in this league, so it's not like you're looking to go 26-10 on the road, but if you can win 19 or 20 road games and then hold your own at home, you got yourself a pretty good chance of winning the division. Now, I think that the division champ, the Grizzlies won 42 games to win the division. Idaho and Rapid City look like they're improved. Kansas City looks like they've improved a little bit as Tato has brought in a decent amount of firepower, and he's got a good goaltender in Shane Sterrett. If he's able to keep him for most of the year, Sterrett and Dylan Kelly can do a good job for him. So I think Kansas City's improved. We haven't yet seen Tulsa much or Allen. We'll get to know Allen a lot more next week as they're the next opponent for the Grizzlies with a 3-game series after Utah plays 3 against Kansas City. So I'm thinking the division champ this year is going to win anywhere between 40 and 45 games, realistically. So for the Grizzlies, you could win 25, 26 games at home. That means you still got to find a way to win 19 games on the road or so, to kind of match that. If you go 23-13 at home, all you really need to do is play 500 hockey, and you get yourself a good chance of winning the division. We'll see what happens here in the next 40 minutes of play, maybe then some. It almost feels like a couple of these games might end up going past regulation as both teams have a good goaltender, Parikh for the Grizzlies, and Kansas City with Shane Sterrett. So we'll see how the second period plays out. Kansas City outshot the Grizzlies 10-8 as we'll be skating 5-on-5 to start the second period. Other action in the league, one game has already gone final. Fort Wayne defeats Cincinnati 4-3 as the Comets come away with an extra standing point. Drake Rimesha picked up the game winner for Fort Wayne in the third round of a shootout. So the Comets get the victory, 4-3 the final score there. Their record goes to 1-2, 1-1 on the season, while Cincinnati falls to 4-0-0-1 as it's the first game the Cyclones have lost this year. 14 minutes, 30 seconds left in the third. Atlanta leads Greenville 2-1. And that's the other two games in the league tonight. Game 3 of the World Series played in Philadelphia. Last night was a rainout, and through 2 innings, the Phillies have a 4-0 lead as that series is tied 1 game apiece. NHL action, let's see, nothing has gone final as of yet. Second intermission, Ottawa leads Tampa 2-1. Also after 2 periods, Flyers and Rangers are scoreless. Capitals lead the Golden Knights 2-1. That game also in the second intermission. On national TV on ESPN, Bruins lead the Penguins 2-1. Through 1 period, no score between the Canadiens and Wild. 15 minutes left in the first, no score between the Islanders and Blackhawks. Halfway through the first, Stars lead the Kings 1-0. At 7 o'clock, starting in about 10 minutes, Seattle is at Calgary. Also at 7 o'clock, Nashville is at Edmonton. At 8 o'clock, Devils are at the Canucks. Panthers at the Coyotes. That game being played at the infamous Mullen Arena, the new home of the Arizona State Sun Devils, and the Arizona Coyotes, a place that holds about 5,000. And at 8:30, the Ducks take on the Sharks. That game's a national TV game on ESPN. When we come back in 1 minute, we'll talk with Guy Carenza, and I'll make sure I keep my microphone down so you can hear me to start the segment on YouTube. First intermission, tied at 1 on the Grizzlies Hockey Network, presented by Siegfried and Jensen.
If you're out driving and something happens to your car, truck, or even wheelchair, and you end up stuck at a rail crossing, it's going to be okay. Don't panic. Here's what you do. Get out if you can and look for this blue sign on the metal pole. Call the number on the blue sign, and when they answer, tell them the crossing number. The number is right here. This tells them the exact location of the crossing. This is the fastest way to get trains stopped before coming through the crossing. Look for the blue. It helps you.
First intermission at Cable Dahmer Arena. We're tied at 1, the Grizzlies and the Mavericks. Dylan Fitz scored 6:01 in. He had 4 of Utah's 8 shots. Kansas City really picked it up the second half of the first period. We got Guy Carenza hanging out with us. He's where all the technology is right now. And this is kind of the thing we did last year at Tim Broussard, where we just kind of passed this microphone back and forth. I think we got one right there for you to use. And, Guy, what were your impressions of the first period?
You know, I thought the Grizzlies came out and they played a really strong game to start, and Dylan Fitz really set the tone. I really liked what he did. He was fast, came out, 4 shots to start the game, and you know what? Coming into this game, he had no points in his first 4 games. It was a -3, and he came out and was a leader. Set the tone for the Grizzlies, and I think that's what they needed, and they were good for the first 9 minutes of the game. Like you said, they dominated. And I really think that the turning point in that period where the momentum kind of shifted in Kansas City's favor is when Bryson Martin takes that penalty. Mavericks go on the power play, and momentum shifts in their favor. And unlucky for the Grizzlies, they end up scoring with about 7 seconds left.
I think that's a good point, because even though Kansas City didn't score on that power play, they were able to get some offensive zone time. And maybe the momentum they didn't have offensively in the first 12 minutes, all of a sudden they were able to find a groove. And they do have some talented forwards. I think it's kind of interesting to note they've got a few former Florida Everblades on their roster, because Tad O'Had, before joining Kansas City as their head coach, he's in his 3rd year with Kansas City. He was an assistant with the Everblades for quite a few years. And so he knows that area. He knows those players. I think Jake Jaremko, number 15, played for the defending champs last year, and there's a couple other, Hugo Waugh, I think, played for Florida. And so there's a little bit of a connection there, and I think it's a big year for Tad O'Had because they missed the playoffs in each of his first 2 years. So I think he is a little bit on the hot seat this season, and Kansas City is an interesting story. I think what gives them a chance is I think they do have an upgrade in goaltending with the Shane Sterrett, who looked impressive in the first period, stopping 7 of 8, and their backup is Dylan Kelly, who was Rapid City's backup last year, in particular the backup to Lucas Parikh.
Yeah, well, I think you're definitely right about Tad O'Had. I mean, it's his 3rd year with the Mavericks, and he missed the playoffs for first 2 seasons. You got to think that he is on the hot seat, but I think you're right when you said that Kansas City has brought a lot of firepower in this year. And as far as Sterrett goes, he's one of the league leaders so far in goaltending. I mean, albeit small sample size, but he's up there, and he's having a nice season to start.
What do you think the Grizzlies need to do here in the second period? I'm kind of thinking about the Grizzlies, who had a lot of success in the opener in the second period, overcoming a 3-0 deficit to tie the game 3-3. They had a lot of success in the second periods last season. I think one guy who feels like he's due, and I noted Ben Tardif before the game because of all the success he had against Kansas City last year. I got a feeling Tardif's due for a big goal, combining it with Brandon Cutler in the second period. What do you think is going to happen in the second?
Well, no doubt about that. Those 2 guys are really special, and I'm sure if any magic is going to happen, they're going to be the ones there to get it started. But, I think the Grizzlies were a big second-period team last year. They seem to be that way this year. They can come out like they did in the first. One of the role players gets them started like Fitz. Or, the 2 guys that you mentioned before, they can get rolling and take the lead.
Hey, we'll talk with Guy during the second intermission as we're having some fun on a Tuesday night. First of a 3-game series between the Grizzlies and the Kansas City Mavericks. We had to reset Flow Sports there as it paused for a little bit. As it looks like the officials are heading out on the ice to start the second period. And bear with us if you're just tuned in on YouTube as with the remote broadcast. Sometimes it's hard to see. It looked like they kind of went with a bit of a wide shot there in the first period, so it's tough sometimes to tell who was who. I think that you talk about this game being at a deadlock, and I know Grizzlies fans probably want to look at that goal that was scored with 7 seconds left, with Koski scoring, McLaughlin and Mullen getting the assists. I mean, that gives Kansas City a little bit of momentum heading into the locker room. Can the Grizzlies find a way to get that momentum back? It does look like it's a bit of a lighter crowd tonight in Independence, and so you do got to bring your own juice because the crowd isn't going to bring that sort of energy just because there's not as many bodies in there. I think it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top this series, and I mentioned it before, and I know that people come tuning in and out. So for those that didn't catch the stat earlier on, the last 5 years between the Grizzlies and Mavericks, both teams have won 17 games against the other. In fact, the Grizzlies in the last 34 games against Kansas City has a record of 17, 13, 3, and 1. So Kansas City's won 17 games. I think their record officially is like 17, 15, and 2 or something like that. So you're talking about a pretty evenly matched series over the last 5 years between these clubs. And, you know, this is the only three games that the Grizzlies will be in Kansas City this year. The Mavericks will be at Maverik Center 5 different times during the regular season, as Kansas City will be at Maverik Center December 17th and 18th, and then the Mavericks will be at Maverik Center March 10th, 11th, and 12th for a 3-game and 3-day set. As both teams have hit the ice, we'll have second period action shortly. And, you know, the big topic coming into play tonight has been Lucas Parikh, who's making his 4th straight start. He's got a 2-1 record. He displayed a pretty good glove in the first period. He did have to get his helmet repaired during the Kansas City power play, and I wonder if that was a little bit of a ploy. You think about, you know, stopping a little bit of momentum as Kansas City was halfway through their power play. And speaking of momentum, you know, the Grizzlies had the first 7 shots of the first period. Can they find a way to get some offensive momentum early on in the second period? Normally, Ryan Kanaswich will play the same 5 guys to start each period, and he started out with a forward line of Tardif, Cutler, and Jamison, and the defensive pairing of Bryson Martin and Connor McDonald. I thought, once again, the Grizzlies captain was outstanding, and it does look like it's that same 5 that started the game that's going to be out there for the Grizzlies. Ben Tardif chatting it up with Luke Morgan. Morgan played his college hockey at Michigan, where he was a teammate of Dakota Rabies. Jamison's out there on the right wing. Cutler will take the face-off. McDonald and Martin are the 2 defensemen. I imagine that Kansas City will go with the 5 that started the game for them, Josh Elms and Jordan Sambrook. Elms wearing number 4. He's got a lot of experience in this league. He's a +2 coming into play tonight. Hugo Waugh started the game. He'll take the face-off. Kansas City, I don't know the exact number, but it looked like Kansas City did an outstanding job on the face-off circle in the first period. They'll put 20 minutes on the clock and start the second period. Grizzlies were outshot 10-8 in the first as Kansas City wins the draw. Mavericks are skating from right to left as we see it on Flow Sports. Your mind's eye see it on YouTube. Grizzlies skating from left to right. Utah has the puck and tries to drive it in. Kansas City cuts it off at their blue line. Now the Mavericks overskate the puck. Grizzlies cross center. Now the attack from the left side. Grizz try to nudge it across towards Cutler, and the pass is wide of the mark onto the left side. Tardif looking for a shot. Kansas City cuts him off and takes away his time and space. And the puck rolls behind the net. Kansas City will feed it off the near boards. Mavericks will chip it out to center. In the area is Bryson Martin. He'll give it over to Tardif. Ben, for 30 seconds in the period, fans on a pass. Mavericks shot, saved by Parikh. Well, Tardif was trying to nudge it across, but fanned on a pass. Kansas City had a good look. Tardif has the puck. He's on the far side. They'll feed it off the right wing boards, off the screen. Grizzly, and it looks like it's going to be icing as the pass didn't hit anything. As Tardif was feeding it over to the right side. Kansas City skated over there, and that's the second time tonight that Jake McLaughlin has forced an icing call with Hustle down there to make sure that he got there first. Draw's going to be on the near side. 52 seconds into the second period. Make sure to follow the Grizzlies on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm on Twitter at Tyson on Sports. Grizz are also on TikTok as well. Mavericks win the face-off. Shot is blocked. Kansas City. McLaughlin will feed it across to Tommy Muck. Now to the right side. Mavericks will chip it across, looking for LeBerg. Now Mavericks try to feed it out in front. Passes wide of the mark. Nobody was there in front for Kansas City to connect on it, as Keaton Jamison will clear it out. Kansas City will start the attack again. Mavericks throw a blue line to blue line pass. It connects 3-on-3. Kansas City gets it to Passage-off. Left side near the boards. He spins it around as LeBerg gets hit. And he tried to kick it over towards Jeremy McKenna. Now the Grizz come up with it along the near side. Raby will nudge it ahead, looking for Pfizer. Pass never got to him. Kansas City feeds it out towards center ice. Grizzlies kept it in. Left point shot, saved by Sterrett. Grizzlies get the rebound as they're on the right side. Utah gets it up top for Klerman. But it glanced off his stick and goes out to neutral ice. Klerman will back it into Grizzlies territory. He'll feed it to Nilsson. Now back to Klerman. Nate will skate towards his right. 2 minutes into the second period. We're tied at 1. Klerman with a pass picked off by Passage-off. Passage-off tries to center it. Nilsson takes it away from Passage-off. As Pfizer will kick it ahead. Didn't look like it hit anybody, but it's going to roll towards the crease, and Sterrett will keep it in play. As the Mavericks now across center ice, left wing, they'll gain the line. Poked away by Cam Strong. Now the Mavericks right point. Calvis will spin it back around as rolls towards Pfizer. Terra nudges ahead, but Kansas City immediately picks that off as Kansas City feeds it towards their near goal line as the Mavericks skate towards the left point. And a righty shot. That one goes wide. That was taken by Koski, number 49. Now along the near boards. Mavericks get pushed down. No call on the play as Kansas City in the offensive zone. Feed it to the left corner. They try give and go near side. Shot saved by Parikh. Now Kolatarchi battling. Oh, looks like we might have a penalty as play stopped. In the area was Josh Lamon. 17-12 left in the second. Kolatarchi looks like he's going to the penalty box. It's going to be a power play for Kansas City as Kolatarchi gets 2 minutes for holding. 17-12 left in the second. Mavericks have been in the offensive zone for a good amount of this second period. There's the Florida native, Estero, Florida. Joey Kolatarchi looking at the stands, probably looking at the replay to see if they show one to show what he did. Draws in the left circle. Second power play for Kansas City. They're 0 for 1 tonight. Over to the right side. Shot gets blocked. McDonald skates towards the far corner. And the Grizzlies are able to clear it out. Kansas City skating from right to left. First of a 3-game set. Teams will have 2 days off and will meet again on Friday night for Game 2 of the series. Kansas City skates towards neutral ice. McLaughlin quarterbacking this power play. A drop it off as the Mavericks cross center. Kansas City skates down the middle, gains the offensive line. Left circle, shot. And that one goes wide. That was taken by Tristan Mullen. Mullen back on the left side. Has a puck up top for McLaughlin. He'll feed it across. Kansas City now gets it to the right side. Mavericks spread it out as they throw it to the right point. Now across. McKenna with a one-timer. Kick save by Parikh. Rebound goes to the right side. Grizzlies clear it out to center. Utah will get one new skater on the ice as Kansas City will back it out. About halfway through the power play for Kansas City. 16-12 and counting left in the second. We're tied at 1. Mavericks blue line to blue line pass. Kicks off a stick and dumps in deep. Parikh behind his net. He'll feed it over to the far side. Mavericks keep it in. Just outside the right circle. Mavericks get it up top. Theo Calvis will skate towards his left. They make that Tommy Muck over to the right side, just outside the circle. They try to feed to the slot. It gets kicked back to the right point. Kansas City feeds the far goal line. Skates in. Lefty shot saved by Parikh. Rebound goes to the left corner. Raby battling. As over there is Keegan Howdeshell. 17 for Kansas City as he's battling with Raby. Fitz comes out of the pile with the puck and backhands it out to neutral ice. Puck glides towards the Kansas City zone. Fitz comes off the ice after an outstanding shift as he's a great two-way forward and did it on the penalty kill there. Kansas City skates down the middle. Howdeshell left side. Shot. Saved by Parikh. And Lucas holds on without a rebound. Keegan Howdeshell's the guy to watch out for Kansas City. He played for Rapid City a couple years ago, and he's a dangerous offensive weapon. Lucas, after he caught that one, looked like he was kind of working on some things, working on some technique things or something that he was telling himself. As he's one of those goaltenders, he's a hard-working guy, and he's in his second year as a pro. And you know this is Lucas Parikh's opportunities. He's still pretty young at just 21 or 22 years old. Draw one by Kansas City. They're still on the power play. They'll walk down the middle. Shot saved by Parikh. Rebound goes to the left side. Yolette feeds it to the corner as the Mavericks skate over there. Power play is over. Kolatarchi out of the box, and he joins the play as action is in the Grizzlies zone. Right side, lefty shot. On it goes wide. We're probably looking for the top corner on Parikh. Grizzlies clear it out. Is it going to be icing? The linesman raises the arm, and icing is called on Utah. 14:54 left in the second. We're still tied at 1. But if you look at the shot count, the Grizzlies look like they have yet to take one in this second period. As they're still at 8 shots, Kansas City has taken 4 in the second period. In fact, that is the case according to the ECHL app. Utah only had 23 shots this last Saturday against Idaho, as getting the shutout was Jake Kupski. Mavericks have it at center ice and dump it back in. Nilsson skates towards the right corner to get it, as he'll try to nudge it to Klerman. It stays towards Nilsson. Now Tardif gets it, as he'll toss it ahead. Grizz skate from left to right. Crossing center ice is Kolatarchi. He'll dump it in. Good shift by Joey out of the penalty box. As behind the Kansas City net, Grizzlies deliver a hit as the puck drifts towards the right corner. Utah feeds it up top for Connor McDonald on the right side. He feeds it to the slot, bounced off the stick of Pouncey, goes back to center ice. Tardif dumps it back in. Kansas City gathers it as there's 14:10 left in the second. Mavericks methodical with their approach. They'll get it out to neutral ice, out to center, now to the left side. Kansas City carries it in. Dalton Golly will feed it over to the left side. Backhand shot by LeBerg, and that's saved by Parikh. As the rebound goes out to center ice. Now to the Kansas City zone. Mavericks have the puck as they'll feed it ahead. They cross center ice. Now the Mavericks gain the offensive line, get it to the right side, just outside the circle. Mavericks feed it up top for the point. And now Kansas City battling with Keaton Jamison. Now they feed it to the goal line on the far side. Try to feed it to a guy out in front. Utah picks it off. 6.5 minutes into the second period. Utah's yet to take a shot on Shane Sterrett. Grizz dump it in off the screen. They make a full line change. Kansas City up with it. They cross center ice, and they'll chip it in. Parikh behind his net. We'll get it over to Martin in the near corner. Back to Taron Fizer. Fizer along the right side. Skates towards his left. He'll fire a rink-wide pass. Now the Grizzlies enter. Sekos in the area, but he overskates his. It goes to the left side near the boards. In the corner, Utah, Sekos throws up top looking for Nilsson. Kansas City cut in front of him. Mavericks cross center ice 2-on-2. Now they step over the offensive line. Kansas City tries to get around Martin. Martin pushes the Mavericks player along the boards. Now Kansas City around the net. Parikh in the area. Martin continues to try to box out Jake Jaremko. Utah comes out of it with the puck. Skating down the middle, Sekos. Now he'll feed it to the left side. Back over to Andrew Nilsson. He'll kick it over to the right side. Off the boards for Fizer. Now the Grizz in the corner. Raby gets hit. Now Fizer gets pushed along the boards by Theo Calvis. Kansas City comes out of it with the puck. Mavericks to neutralize. Feed a pass ahead. Kansas City steps over the offensive blue line. John Schiavo in the corner, wearing number 44. Schiavo's an interesting story. Watch out for his YouTube videos. Koski gets to the left side, now up top. Mavericks will feed a shot that goes wide and glances off the glass to the far side. And Kansas City up within the right side. They skeet towards their left up top. Now the Mavericks over towards the left corner. Plenty of room. All looking for a centering pass. Utah cuts it off. Grizz doing a good job denying the centering pass tonight. As Fizer to the right side gets to his offensive blue line. Couldn't dump it in deep as Josh Elms cuts him off. As the Mavericks cross center ice. Now they gain the line. 3-on-3. Kansas City to the right side. Feeds it to the circle. Centering pass. Shot. On it goes wide. And it goes to the left side. As Dalton Galley will feed it over to the corner. He loses the puck. McDonald gets it to Fizer. Now to the left side. Kansas City kept it in. They feed it to the slot. Utah pokes it back to center. Golly will get it across. 8.5 minutes into the second period. Still tied at 1. Mavericks to the right side. Skate towards the corner as Utah spins him around. And they'll feed it to the far circle. Utah picks it off. Grizz. Ben Tardif crosses center ice. 1-on-2. He'll step over the line. Stops on the right side. Now he'll skate towards his left. He's in the left circle. I tried to get it across, and Kansas City picked it off. As Tardif unselfish on that play, maybe a little bit too much. Kansas City gets over to the slot. Righty shot saved by Parikh. Rebound goes out to the right side. Mavericks over to the corner, battling with Sekos. Mavericks to the right side, skeet towards the circle. Well, we got an extreme wide shot, it looks like. Tough to tell who's who. As Kansas City over to the high slot, LeBerg will feed it to Tommy Muck. Muck in the left corner as he's being shadowed up top. Now gets to LeBerg. Now across. Now back to the slot. Righty shot kick saved by Parikh. As the Grizz will lift it high into the air. Bounces at center ice. Kansas City will back it out into their own zone and restart the attack. Mavericks chip it in as it bounces off the backboards. Parikh behind his net. Looks to get back checked by Kansas City. Parikh feeds it over to the near side. Now Kansas City behind the net. Centers it. Shot saved by Parikh. Rebound goes to Utah. About halfway through the scheduled 60 minutes, we're tied at 1. Bryson Martin feeds it to the right side for Fitz. Fitz skates in, right circle, shot, saved by Sterrett. And it looks like it deflects out of play. 10:05 left in the second, and Dylan Fitz has to be Utah's best forward so far. That is the first shot taken by the Grizzlies in the second period, and Dylan Fitz has 5 of those 10. He has Utah's lone goal, which was 6:01 into the first period. Kansas City tied the game 19:53 in as Cole Koski got his first of the year. Mavericks in the second period have outshot the Grizzlies 6-1. We're back in 30 seconds as we're tied at 1 with 10:05 left in the second period on the Grizzlies Hockey Network, presented by Mountain Land Supply Company.
Mavericks' new bean-to-cup machines always deliver a freshly ground cup of coffee on demand, so you can enjoy any of our premium roasts at their best, day or night, hot or iced. Enjoy a fresh cup today.
Utah's taken 9 shots. Dylan Fitz has 5 of them, including one that found the back of the net. Right now it's listed as unassisted. 6:01 into the game. Koski scored 19:53 in. McLaughlin and Tristan Mullen with the assists. Kansas City's 0 for 2 on the power play. Grizzlies have yet to go on the man advantage. Lucas Parikh so far has stopped 15 of 16. Shane Sterrett of Kansas City has stopped 8 of 9. It's one of 3 games in the league tonight. Fort Wayne defeated Cincinnati 4-3 in a shootout, and with 4 minutes left in the third, Atlanta leads Greenville 2-1. Tyler Penner will take the draw against Kansas City's Jake Jaremko. Dylan Fitz, who's been outstanding, is on the right side, and along with Dakota Raby. As the draw won by Kansas City, they'll ice the puck. Parikh will play to the right of his net. Maybe it wouldn't have been icing, or else he would have let it go. Now Parikh behind his net will give it to Klorman as Utah skates from left to right as we see it on Flow Sports here in the second period. Fitz will dump it into the left corner. Penner chips it ahead. Backhand shot. Saved by Sterrett. Grizzlies get spun around in the corner. Kansas City comes out with the puck. Mavericks kick it ahead as they'll carry it out to center ice. Lumbering Josh Helms crosses center ice and dumps it in as he collides with a Grizzly skater behind Utah's net. Utah with the puck as they chip it to the right side for Jamison. Jamison ahead to the right for Fitz. Fitz will dump it in as the Grizzlies at the end of their shift. Jamison, Penner, and Fitz come off as Kansas City skating from right to left gets it taken away in their zone. Left point shot, save, score! Grizzlies converted on a turnover on the left side, and it looks like it's Taryn Fizer getting his 5th of the year. Fizer took the puck away from Kansas City, and he was just outside the left circle, fired towards the net, and somehow got it past Shane Sterrett. What a play by Fizer, and Sterrett didn't know what hit him until the puck was in the back of his net. That's Fizer's 5th goal of the season. He has 5 of Utah's 9 goals of the campaign. So Taryn Fizer with the goal that might be listed as unassisted. He just took it away from Kansas City. Now Fizer comes back to the right side. He'll take a righty shot. That one gets blocked. Rebound goes out to the right side as the Grizz are attacking, leading 2-1. Now Kansas City up with it as Howdeshell will feed it to center ice. Kansas City doesn't have numbers, so they'll just dump it in. Parikh behind his net cuts it off. He feeds it to the far side. And now the Mavericks, right side, take a shot, and that one gets blocked out in front. Utah will feed it out to center ice. Kansas City back up with it. Mavericks will try to drive it in. It bounced off a Raby. Goes to the Kansas City bench as the Grizz nudge it into Kansas City territory, but the Mavericks have it at neutral ice. Now they'll back it out into their own zone. 8:30 and counting left in the second. Utah leads 2-1 as Taryn Fizer got his 5th of the year. Kansas City dumps it in, and they make a full line change. Utah passes up ahead to center ice. Hot pass, bounced off a stick. Now it goes back into the Grizzly zone. Somebody off the screen will feed a cross-ice pass to the left. Did it connect? And according to the linesman, it did. No icing as the puck is over in the right corner. Kansas City in their own zone as the Grizzlies look like they found some sort of energy after the Fizer goal. Off the near boards, Kansas City to the left side, steps over the line. Yolette with a shot that gets blocked. Taking it's Cameron Wright. He feeds it to the right side for Brandon Cutler. Cutler with plenty of speed. He'll skate towards the right circle, make a nice move. Now looking for a backhand shot. Saved by Sterrett as Cutler went between his legs on a very fancy move from the right side. Up, Mavericks up with it. Kansas City gets it towards center ice. Jamison in the area. Tardif takes it away. Pass up ahead as Utah to the left side near their bench dumps it in. Cutting it off is Sterrett behind his net. Now to the slot. Mavericks poke it out to center. Grizzlies running after it. And taking it is Pouncey. He'll stop behind Parik's net. Tardif will cut in front of Pouncey. Tardif will take the puck. He'll skate along the left wing with plenty of speed. He'll feed it off the right wing boards. Grizzlies enter the zone as they skate towards the corner. Cameron Wright getting boxed out. Kansas City gets another skater that moves over to the corner. Mavericks will nudge it ahead as Kansas City to the left side crosses center ice. 2-on-2. Mavericks to the left side trying to feed it out in front. Passage off fans on it. He'll regather it. He'll center it towards the net. Utah picks it off, but the whistle blew, and it looked like the Grizzlies are going to get a penalty. As Passage skated around the net, looked like he got held up, and it looks like it's going to be a call as Passage talking with the referee, and we'll see who goes to the penalty box for Utah, if anybody does. 6:55 left in the second. Utah leads 2-1 as Terran Pfizer gets his 5th goal of the season. Right now it is listed as unassisted. Grizzlies up to 12 shots. Kansas City's taken 16. We're back in 30 seconds on the Grizzlies Hockey Network. Utah leads 2-1. 6:55 left in the second period. Terran Pfizer scored unassisted, 10:46 into the second, and right now that's the deciding factor of the game. Dylan Fitz has 5 of Utah's 12 shots. Pfizer has 2 of them. One has found the back of the net. That means that Pfizer has 13 shots. This is the Grizzlies' 5th game of the season. Pfizer's played in them all. He's got 5 goals on 13 shots this season. So you talk about a guy that's been the MVP of Utah offensively. It's definitely been Terran Pfizer. Draws in the Grizzlies zone, and it's won by Kansas City. As Tommy Muck will feed it to the right side, as it looks like the Grizzlies are shorthanded. We didn't see who's in the penalty box or what he did. As Kansas City over to the right side skates towards the left. As the Mavericks on the power play, Muck with a shot. Blocker saved by Preek. Rebound goes to the near side. Now up top for Muck. He'll feed it to the right side. Now back to Muck. Muck over to Koski. One-timer. Glove saved by Parikh. And Lucas holds on as Koski looks at his stick after firing the shot. Bryson Martin is in the Rogers and Russell Legal Solutions holding cell for the second time tonight. We didn't get to see the referee signal, so we're not sure what Martin did. 6:31 left in the second. Utah's up by 1. Grizzlies hockey all year brought to you by Rogers and Russell Legal Solutions, so you can rest and relax. Draw won by the Grizzlies as clearing it out as Connor, all trying to clear it out. Kansas City miraculously kept it in. Good play by Tommy Muck. He'll feed it to the right side now up top for Muck. He's quarterback in the power play over to Koski. One-timer, saved by Parikh. And Lucas holds on without a rebound. That's the second blast from the left circle by Cole Koski, and the second time in a row that Lucas Parikh has shut the door on him. Draw once again is going to be in the left circle. 1:22 left in the power play. 6:16 left in the second. Jamison will take the face-off against Jaremko. And the draw gets kicked over to the left corner. And Utah gets the puck and clears it out. Good job by the Grizzlies penalty kill unit. They are 2 for 2 so far tonight. Utah leads 2-1. About 6 minutes left in the second period. Mavericks skate from right to left as we see it on Flow Sports. They cross center ice. They'll gain the line to the right side, nudge it deep into the zone. As they'll pin it around the boards. Kansas City, plenty of room on the right side. Mavericks will fire a shot. That one gets blocked. Mavericks behind the net. As they'll skate towards the corner and feed it over to Keegan Haldeshell. He'll get it to Muck, now to the right side. Back to Muck. Muck in the high slot. He'll take a lefty shot, fanned on it a little bit. Now to the left side, Koski looking for it. Utah poked it away. Grizz trying to carry it out of the zone, and they do. Out to center's Keaton Jamison, and he'll dump it in. Grizz make a full line change. 28 seconds and counting left in Kansas City's power play. 5:20 and counting left in the second. Utah leads 2-1. Dylan Fitz had a first period goal. Taryn Pfizer with a second period tally. Cole Koski scored with 7 seconds left in the first for Kansas City. Mavericks out at center ice. Raby pokes it towards the Kansas City bench, where the Mavericks regather and spin it over around the boards to the left corner as Utah gets it back towards Clermont. He'll chip it to Connor McDonald on the far side. He'll nudge it ahead to Raby, who fanned on clearing it out. As over on the right side, Kansas City. Their power play's over. Over to the right side. Puck gets kicked around the net. And Utah, with Bryson Martin out of the box, he joins the play as it's over in the left corner. Mavericks being double-teamed behind the net. Utah pokes it away. Grizz skate towards the near wall as McDonald will toss it to Dylan Fitz. Fitz crosses center ice, and he'll drive it in as Utah makes a full line change. Kansas City will toss it past 75% of the way, and it bounces off the stick of Tristan Mullen. He'll skate off the ice at the end of his shift as the Grizzlies have it deep in their own zone. Tardif skates along the left wing, gets into neutral ice. He'll dump it from blue line to blue line as puck ends up battling, stays in play. Grizzlies get spun around as they're carrying over the offensive line. Utah dumps it in as Kansas City will get it back to center ice. Mavericks chip it over to the left wing, couldn't handle it. Now they handle it as Loren Yolette battling behind his net against Colatarchi. Utah comes out of it with the puck. Grizz will feed it out to center ice. Long-range pass. Kansas City will gather it back in their own zone. Mavericks will feed it out to center ice. Utah delivers a hit. Grizz carry it into Cameron Wright. Right over to Cutler. He'll take a shot that goes wide. Might have gotten a piece of Sterrett. Rolls around the far boards and stays in play. Mavericks will skate into the offensive zone. Now right side wide open. Shot. Saved by Parikh. Boy, Lucas with an outstanding glove as Josh Lamb was open on the right side. But what can you say about Lucas Parikh as he closes the door on Kansas City? 3:25 left in the second. Utah leads 2-1. Taryn Pfizer has the deciding goal right now. 10:46 into the second period. We're back in 30 seconds on the Grizzlies Hockey Network.
When you pay with the Nitro card at Maverik, you always save 10 cents or more on fuel every gallon, every day. And you could save a whole lot more thanks to Nitro Best Price. Pick up a Nitro card and upgrade your Adventure Club.
Mavericks' new bean-to-cup machines always deliver a freshly ground cup of coffee on demand, so you can enjoy any of our premium roasts at their best, day or night, hot or iced. Enjoy a fresh cup today.
Utah leads 2-1. 3:25 is left in the second period. Second intermission. We will go over some scores from around the world of sports, and we'll see if we can figure out how to unmute Guy's microphone. We're having some fun here with the first remote broadcast of the season, and it's the third year that we have done remote broadcasts for a lot of the road games. I know we were in Boise last weekend. As the draw is going to be in the right circle, Tyler Penner will take the face-off for Utah. He'll be lined up next to Cam Strong. Looks like Bryson Martin is out there with Connor McDonald. As taking the draw for Kansas City is Hugo Waugh. He's wearing number 19. Waugh last season played a little bit with the Atlanta Gladiators and in the AHL with the Belleville Senators. As Kansas City wins the draw, they'll back it out into their own zone. Dalton Golly up ahead to Dremko. He'll feed it to the Grizzlies blue line. Connor McDonald takes it, and he'll dump it in. Tyler Penner chasing after Golly. Golly wearing number 52. So he gets pinned to the boards. As taking it is Cam Strong. He's in the offensive zone. Strong back to Johnny Walker. Left side, he'll roll it around as it goes to the right corner. As Strong in the corner, he gets blasted by the other number 26, Tristan Mullen. Kansas City's able to clear it out to center. Mavericks get spun around near the penalty box area. McDonald with the puck, but it's Kansas City that nudges ahead. Mullen in the slot. He'll dump it off the end boards as he's battling with McDonald. Walker in the area. He has the puck as he'll feed it across to Bryson Martin. Now to Cameron Wright. Over to Penner. Now Walker dumps it in. Kansas City picked it off about halfway into their defensive zone. They'll feed it to center ice. Grizzlies, I imagine, dump it back in as Kansas City Skating from right to left, and I'm calling the same game that the fans on Flow Sports are watching right now. Mavericks over to the left side, skating in, left circle, shot. That one goes wide. That was taken by Jeremy McKenna. Now back to the corner as Nelson knocks down Lamon and pushes Lamon. LeBerg looks to feed it out in front. Utah picks it off as Dakota Raby will feed it to look to find Pfizer, picked off by McLaughlin as the Mavericks. Right side, skate towards the corner. Kansas City throws it back to the right side. Now across. McLaughlin with the shot. That one goes wide as he tried to go stick side on Parikh. Now Kansas City looks to center it. It kicked off of Parikh onto the right corner as Raby battling along with Nielsen. Raby with the puck. His college teammate Passagov shadowing him. Raby feeds over to Nielsen. He skates around the net over to Pfizer. Taryn out to center ice. Grizzlies dump it in. Starrett will watch it go as he'll give it to Josh Elms. Elms behind the Kansas City net. 1:20 left in the second. Utah leads 2-1. Mavericks out to center ice. They'll skate towards the right side. Cole Koski gets around Martin. He'll bounce it off the end boards. Mavericks try to feed it out in front. It kicked off of Cameron Wright. Now ahead to Tardif. He gets tripped up. Did the official spot it? Kansas City touches it up. Yes, the official looks like he spotted it as Tardif got tripped up along the far boards. Play stops as Cole Koski touches it up. And it looks like the Grizzlies, for the first time tonight, will be on the power play. And it's going to the Rogers and Russell Legal Solutions holding cell. We're not sure yet. It's kind of funny how sometimes the feeds do not show the home player in the penalty box. So a Kansas City player broke a hockey rule, and I believe it's tripping as Ben Tardif drew that penalty. 1:04 is left in the second. First power play of the Grizzlies tonight. They are 2 for 21 on the power play this season. Kansas City's penalty kill is 8 for 9. Obviously a smaller sample size as the Mavericks win the face-off, and Kansas City will skate out to center ice. Mavericks being challenged by Brandon Cutler at the Utah line. Cutler gets it across to Nilsson. Utah will start the attack skating from left to right. Grizz could use some insurance here as they lead 2-1. Tardif feeds it across to Cameron Wright. Wright's on the right side. He'll skate towards the corner. He'll take a shot. And looked like Starrett might have gotten a piece of it as the Grizzlies over to the left side. Utah outside the left circle feeds it across to Tardif. Ben hanging out in the right side. He's wide open, but he'll throw it to the slot for Nilsson. He'll get it across for Cutler. He'll take a shot, and he gets blocked. Goes to Tardif. Back to Cutler. Left side, he'll take a shot. Saved by Starrett. Rebound goes to Kansas City, and they clear it out. Well, it looks like play stopped. Morgan looked like he was clearing it out. Did he clear it out of play? That would have been delay of game if he did. Maybe it got deflected by a Utah stick. Sometimes those sort of things can be tough. Tracking the puck during these remote broadcasts in particular can be pretty tough, and tracking shots can be difficult as well. So there might be a little bit of hesitation, especially on the Pfizer goal, to see if he had scored or not. Sekos will take the draw. He's got Fitz to his right. Passagov takes the faceoff for Kansas City. As Utah wins the draw, 15 seconds left in the second. As Utah looking to hit Sekos on the right side, Kansas City gets a stick in the way and pokes it out to center. Sekos will back it out into his own zone. He'll get it across. 5 seconds left. Utah at neutral ice. Over to Fitz on the right side. Fitz will watch the time run out as Utah leads 2-1 after 2 periods. As both teams will head for their locker room. The Grizzlies will be on the power play to start the third period with a 2-1 lead. Josh Lamon was the one to get the penalty. Tripping was the call. 18:56 into the second period as Utah is in the middle of their first power play of the game. In terms of shots through 40 minutes, Kansas City, 10 shots in the first, 11 in the second. Utah, 8 shots in the first and 5 in the second. But the only thing that matters is Utah has a 2-1 lead. We'll recap all the scoring when we come back. It's the Grizzlies 2 and the Mavericks 1. And we'll talk about the intermission coming up next. Siegfried and Jensen intermission report when we come back in 1 minute on the Grizzlies Hockey Network.
Mavericks' new bean-to-cup machines always deliver a freshly ground cup of coffee on demand, so you can enjoy any of our premium roasts at their best, day or night, hot or iced. Enjoy a fresh cup today.
Second intermission over at Cable Dahmer Arena. Utah leads Kansas City 2-1. I'm Tyson Whiting, hanging out at Maverik Center tonight. First of a 3-game series and third game of 8 straight on the road. The Grizzlies will return home for 6 straight games. They'll take on Idaho for a 3-game set November 17th and 18th at 7 o'clock, and Sunday, November 20th at 3 p.m. Note that on Friday, November 18th, that's the annual Pooch on the Pond night where you can bring your dog to the game and sit in a special section. As we love the dogs here at Maverik Center. We got quite a few dogs that are hanging out in the office this week, including Ryan Kanasowicz's dog Molly, as Ryan is over in Independence, Missouri, as the Grizzlies are looking for their 3rd win of the season. And then Thanksgiving week, which is the following week, the Trois Rivières Lions will be in town for 3 games in 3 days. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, November 25th, 26th, and 27th. Friday and Saturday will start at 7:10, and Sunday, November 17th, will start at 3:10. Well, it looks like we've got ourselves an outstanding hockey game right now as Utah leads 2-1. Grizz scored first as Dylan Fitz lit the lamp 6:01, and Utah is 2-0 this season when scoring first. Looks like right now it's listed as unassisted as he just skated along the right side. Looked like he was going to skate towards the corner, but just kind of fired a quick wrist shot that got past Shane Sterrett. Had perfect accuracy, and the Utah at that point led 1-0. It stayed a 1-0 game through the majority of the first period. Kansas City outshot the Grizzlies in the second half of the first period 10-1, or even 10-0, as Utah listed with 8 shots, Kansas City with 10, but Utah took the first 7 shots of the game. Kansas City responded pretty strongly in the second half of the first period. Cole Koski got his first of the year as he got a pass out in front from Tristan Mullen. And Koski, with his first of the year, he played last season with the Worcester Railers. McLaughlin looks like he's been one of Kansas City's best defensemen. Jake's his first name, and he picks up an assist on the Koski goal. And that tied it up at 1, and it was a 1-1 score after 1 period. In the second period, Kansas City took the first 4 shots, and they had at one point had a 14-8 edge on the shot count. It looked like it was a pretty good defensive period by both teams. You know, Kansas City looks like they are an improved defensive unit. But then somehow Terran Pfizer broke loose, and it was an interesting play as Pfizer was on the left side, had the puck, skated towards the circle, and then just kind of casually flipped it towards the net. And I don't know that Shane Sterrett was expecting Pfizer to take the shot. And by the time Sterrett was able to track the puck, it was in the back of his net. Pfizer with his 5th goal of the season. It seems like we talk about him game in and game out. Well, that's because Pfizer has 5 of Utah's 10 goals this season. And you'd think about the 2 shots that Terran Pfizer has. That means he has 5 goals on 13 shots this season. It's outstanding. You talk about a guy that might have been Utah's best forward in the training camp, in the 2-week training camp. Pfizer and Sekos looked like Utah's 2 best forwards. Remember, Ben Tardif came in about halfway through camp. Tardif has also been outstanding. He got an assist in each of his first 3 games this season, but Terran Pfizer looked like he was a bit stronger than what I saw in the playoffs, and he just has that ability to score goals. He showed that last season as he averaged about 1.5 points a game with the Victoria Royals of the WHL. He was a teammate of Brandon Cutler's for 3 seasons over in Victoria, and right now Terran Pfizer has the deciding goal in the game. It's listed as unassisted, 10:46 into the second period. Remember, Utah will be on the power play for the first minute and 4 seconds, or I think they tell you not to do math on the air. Josh Lamon committed a tripping minor 18:56 in, so I think it's the first 56 seconds of the third period. That's when Utah is going to be on the power play. Right now, Utah is listed as 0 for 1 on the power play, even though they are in the middle of their first power play of the game. Kansas City is 0 for 3 on the power play. So the Grizzlies' penalty kill, which came into action tonight, 10 for 13. Kansas City's power play came into action 4 of 12. Grizzlies have done a pretty good job on the penalty kill tonight. And unfortunately, with the particular camera angle we've been getting it's been tough to identify players at times. But I did see Tyler Penner out there on the penalty kill and Fitz. I mean, really, it's kind of similar guys to what we've seen in previous games on the penalty kill unit for Utah, but they've all done an outstanding job this evening. And how about Lucas Parikh? You know, he's done a solid job in net, stopping 20 of 21. And if there's anything that stands out tonight about Parikh's performance, it's the quick glove. As Kansas City has had a number of good looks, but Parikh's glove and the ability to control rebounds. There haven't been too many second chance opportunities for Kansas City through 2 periods. So Lucas Parikh has done an outstanding job in net for Utah as he is making his 4th straight start. Last season, he was Rapid City's workhorse, and it looks like in his 2nd season as a pro, the former 3rd-round pick of the LA Kings has just been outstanding in net. Looks like on Flow Sports they're showing highlights of Shane Sterrett's shutout, 3-0, last Saturday against the Rapid City Rush. It was a memorable night, though, at the Monument because current Kansas City assistant coach Riley Weslowski got his jersey retired. Remember, he played about a decade worth of games for the Rapid City Rush, and he's one of the best defensemen in Rapid City Rush history. And Riley Weslowski got his jersey retired last Saturday when the Mavericks were there to face the Rapid City Rush. We'll come back and give you some scores from around the world of sports. And do we dare give that microphone a try to see if it's unmuted with Guy? Hey, he puts 2 hands in the air, so hey, we'll see. Nevertheless, Utah leads 2-1. Second intermission coverage is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen, the law firm for accident victims. You're listening to the Grizzlies Hockey Network.
If you're out driving and something happens to your car, truck, or even wheelchair, and you end up stuck at a rail crossing, it's going to be okay. Don't panic. Here's what you do. Get out if you can and look for this blue sign on the metal pole. Call the number on the blue sign, and when they answer, tell them the crossing number. The number is right here. This tells them the exact location of the crossing. This is the fastest way to get trains stopped before coming through the crossing. Look for the blue. It helps you.
Second intermission at Cable Dahmer Arena. Utah leads 2-1. I'm Tyson Whiting, hanging out here at Maverik Center with Guy Carenza as he's running the board, and he's right now trying to figure out the right buttons for the right microphone. We're having some fun for the first remote broadcast of the 2022-2023 season. The other 2 games in the league have gone final. Fort Wayne defeats Cincinnati in a shootout, 4-3, as that game was played at Heritage Bank Center in Cincinnati. The game-winning goal was scored by Drake Reamsha of Fort Wayne in the 3rd round of a shootout. So the Comets get the extra standing point. They go to 1-2, 1-1 on the season. Cincinnati falls to 4-0-0-1. Atlanta holds on for a 2-1 victory over Greenville, as looked like Arulo scored the game winner, or he had the Greenville goal. We don't really know much of these teams in the Eastern Conference, as we don't play them all that often. Looks like former Kansas City and Rapid City goaltender Tyler Parks got the start for Atlanta, and he stopped 24 of 25 in the victory. So Atlanta, with the victory, their record goes to 2-2 on the season. Greenville goes to 2-1-1. Well, do we try it out, Guy? I think you might have the right microphone.
We can maybe try it.
I hear you.
You hear it?
I hear you.
All right, let's see if we can get it going. All right.
So
Sounds good.
Yeah, we're just having fun here on a Tuesday night, a midweek game, kind of a lighter crowd. And I think for the Grizzlies, you think about the deciding factor. Once again, it's Taryn Fizer coming through.
Yeah, this kid is a star in the making. I mean, oh my goodness. You think about the Grizzlies and you think about Tardif, you think about their leadership, McDonald, Fitz. But, man, Taryn Fizer is really on a tear to start the season. I mean, 5 goals, 5 games. What more can you ask for?
And only on 13 shots. A guy that's not really a high-volume shooter, but he's got an outstanding shooting percentage. And really, the Fizer goal stands out. The Grizzlies' penalty kill unit, it would be big. It would probably be huge if the Grizzlies can find a way to score on the power play to start the 3rd period. But the one guy I've been impressed with, and really I've been impressed, it seems like every game that he's appeared in, Lucas Parikh, showing an outstanding glove, and once again he's off to a good start tonight.
Yeah, no question. Parikh has been great so far in this game, and honestly, I think he's kind of stealing the show a little bit behind the scenes. I mean, he's stopped 20 of 21, I believe. He's been really solid in net, and the Mavericks have been testing him. It didn't look like he was going to get much action early on, But the Mavericks have thrown a lot at him, and he's stopped all but one.
I'm thinking about what the Grizzlies need to do in the final 20 minutes of play. I think you just kind of have to continue to take it to Kansas City. It looks like the Mavericks have a big defensive unit. They've got some good goal scorers, it seems like in the left and right circles. And so I think for the Grizzlies, you still need Preek to do his thing, but it almost feels like offensively, can they find a way to get that rhythm? They scored 1 goal in each of the first 2 periods. And I think it's going to be one of those. It's going to be a battle the final 20 minutes because Kansas City looks like they're a little bit more disciplined than what we saw last year. Last year they took a lot of penalties that were unnecessary, and they had a lot of penalty minutes. It's kind of interesting that through 3 games, the Mavericks only average about 8 penalty minutes a game. So I think that if you're talking about differences from this year to last, Kansas City is a much more disciplined team. I think the Grizzlies are going to have to earn the 2 standings points there on the road tonight.
Well, yeah, no question. The Mavericks are definitely new and improved. I mean, you think about them in years past, they missed the playoffs the last 2 years. They've really stepped up their game, and it's going to be a battle to win this game if you're the Grizzlies. I think the key for them is to capitalize on this power play or abbreviated power play to start this period. Get yourself a nice 2-goal lead, some insurance, some would say, but also stay out of the penalty box. You talk about discipline. They've taken 3 penalties so far, and the penalty kill has been really good, but you don't want to keep your penalty kill on the ice for the entire period, so stay out of the penalty box.
It's great to hear from you, Guy. Great to have you here tonight. I think we'll have Kiki write the post-game story, and it'll be one of those where she'll mail it out to us, and we'll read that after the game. Guy, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Maybe we'll talk to you during the post-game report.
Oh, thank you, Tyson.
That's Guy Carenza. Second intermission over at Cable Dahmer Arena. Grizzlies lead 2-1. We'll have third period action when we come back. You're listening to the Siegfried and Jensen Intermission Report right here on the Grizzlies Hockey Network.
When you pay with the Nitro card at Maverik, you always save 10 cents or more on fuel every gallon, every day. And you could save a whole lot more thanks to Nitro Best Price. Pick up a Nitro card and upgrade your Adventure Club account today.
Second intermission over at Cable Dahmer Arena. Utah leads 2-1. We'll have third period action here shortly. It looks like they had the annual Chuck-a-Puck over at Cable Dahmer for a Tuesday night. Don't forget this series will continue on Friday night. Both teams will have 2 days off. I imagine the Grizzlies will eat some Kansas City barbecue. I don't know what the favorite place is out there, but I know if I were in Kansas City, I'd go find some barbecue. And I'd probably go find the Kansas City Chiefs and Royals stadiums, which occupy the same parking spot. If I remember right, they're about 10 to 12 minutes away from where they are in Independence, Missouri, which is more or less a suburb of Kansas City. And I'd probably go check out those stadiums, even though they are going to be vacant in the middle of the week. But it looks like the Grizzlies are going to have some fun. They'll probably get a couple practices in. One of the storylines coming into play tonight was the offense, as the Grizzlies only scored 2 goals in 2 games against Idaho last weekend. You could probably blame some of that on the ice surface. Some of that on, just getting to know each other offensively. A lot of new faces. We talk about all the returning faces, but it seems like among the forwards, guys are playing a little bit different roles offensively. Tardif's got a couple different line mates, and Cameron Wright's getting adjusted to the pro game, and we're seeing a lot of nuances to the offense, and it's just going to take that much. It's just going to take a few more practices. That the Grizzlies offense is going to click. And how about Taryn Fizer? He's got 5 of Utah's 10 goals so far this season. And Dylan Fitz, you talk about impressive forwards tonight. Fitz has 5 of Utah's 13 shots, and he was outstanding in particular in the first period, getting the Grizzlies offense jump-started. Brandon Cutler and Taryn Fizer each have 2 shots, and then 1 shot each for Bryson Martin, Nate Klurman, Tardif, and Penner. For Kansas City, Cole Koski has their lone goal scored with 7 seconds left in the first period, 19:53 in. Koski leads the way with 4 shots. In fact, on Kansas City's power play that they had late in the second period when Martin got the hooky minor 13:05 in, it was Koski that had a couple really good looks from the circle, and Lucas Preek displaying a strong and quick glove. So for Kansas City, Koski has been one of their best forwards. Keegan Howdeshell has 3 shots. Jake Jaremko and Pascal LeBerg have 2 shots. And James McKenna, or Jeremy McKenna, I think James McKenna is actually a linesman in this league. I think he even officiates some Grizzlies games as a linesman. Jeremy McKenna, no relation, has 2 shots for Kansas City. He leads the way with 3 goals for the Mavericks this season, along with Nick Pastajov, who tonight has 1 shot on goal. Well, the officials have hit the ice, and soon the teams will be out there to start the third period. Let's get to some scores from around the world of sports. As looks like Kyle Schwarber has hit a home run for the Phillies. Philadelphia leads Houston 7-0. That game in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's Game 3 of the World Series. That series is tied at 1 game apiece. Game 4 will be tomorrow night, and then Game 5 will be on Thursday. And they'll have an off day Friday, a travel day, and then if necessary, Games 6 and 7 will be Saturday and Sunday, respectively. In the NHL, let's see if any of these games have gone final. Looks like we got 3 finals in the NHL. Lightning defeat the Senators 4-3. In overtime, the Rangers defeat the Flyers 1-0. As Philadelphia is off to a surprising start this season, but they couldn't score tonight. Rangers get a 1-0 victory. In overtime, Vegas defeats Washington 3-2. Vegas is 9-2 this season, and they're off to a quick start. Games in progress. Late second period, Penguins lead the Bruins 5-3. Wild lead the Canadiens 3-0. That game also after 2 periods. 14 minutes left in the second. Islanders lead the Blackhawks 1-0. Halfway through the second period, Kings and Stars are tied at 1. First intermission, Kraken lead the Flames 1-0. And also after 1, Edmonton puts up a 4 spot. They lead Nashville 4-1. Later on tonight, starting in about 10 minutes, Devils are at the Canucks. Panthers at the Coyotes. And at 8:30, the Ducks are at the Sharks. We'll come back in 1 minute. I'll grab some water, and we'll have third period action as Utah leads 2-1 on the Grizzlies Hockey Network. Grizzlies lead 2-1. We'll start the third period here as Utah will be skating from right to left. Taron Fizer's on the ice along with Zach Sekos. Remember, Utah will be on the power play the first 56 seconds of the third period, so we'll have some new guys out there instead of the 5 that started the game. Lucas Preek is the net for Utah. He has stopped 20 of 21. Kansas City's Shane Sterrett has stopped 11 of 13. Sekos will take the face-off against Jake Jaremko. Jaremko wearing number 15 for Kansas City. Played for the champion Florida Everblades last year. Utah wins the face-off, and they'll back it out into their own zone, skating from right to left. Utah nudges ahead. Right side, they'll gain the line. Stop in the right circle. Utah feeds it back up top for Nilsson. He'll take a lefty shot, and it goes wide. Kansas City deflects it, stays in play along the near side. Up top for Sekos. Now to Martin. Over to the right side, righty shot. Saved by Sterrett. Rebound. Kansas City gets it. Tried to clear it out. And diving to keep it in is Dakota Raby. Now Martin gets it to the right side. I think that's Fizer. He feeds it across to Sekos. Left side, he'll take a shot on. That one gets blocked by Elms. Elms slow to get to his feet. Sekos around the net. Over to the right side. Shot. That one goes wide. Kansas City will carry it out of the zone 1-on-2. They'll cross center and dump it towards Lucas Preek, who gets it on one hop and kicks it over to the left corner. That'll do it for the Grizzlies power play. They got a couple good looks in the first minute of the third period as they were halfway through their power play. As Nilsson will get it over to the far side, as out of the penalty box is Josh Lamon. Grizzlies nudge it ahead. Right side, they'll step over the line. Right circle, take a lefty shot, saved by Sterrett. And Kansas City trying to clear it out. Nilsson keeps it into the left side, but the puck trickles past him. Kansas City tries to clear it out. Cameron Wright gets collided with a Kansas City skater. Now the Mavericks will step over their offensive line. Feed it to the left point. Calvis couldn't reach it. It goes out to center. Calvis gets taken away. Tardif feeds over to the right side. Cutler with a shot that goes wide. as the puck ends up bouncing off of a Grizzly skater. Kansas City will feed it to the left side. They'll skate to the circle. Righty shot, and that one goes wide. Out goes to the right side. Nilsson delivers a big-time hit and got away with it as he hit a smaller guy. Kansas City to the right side. Parikh dives in the crease, and now Nilsson is in the net. The net is dislodged. McKenna wants to get a piece of Nilsson, and where's the puck? As Parikh is on the ground right now. Kansas City tried to fire it towards the net, and it looks like Colin Lee, the Grizzlies trainer, is looking after Parikh. And 2-1's the score. Kansas City looking to find a way to tie the game as Nick Pastajov was in the mix. McKenna for Kansas City. Looks like Pastajov's going to skate towards the penalty box. Parikh is on 2 knees being checked at by the Grizzlies trainer as Andrew Nilsson nearby. Cameron Wright checking things out along with Nate Klerman. Klerman wearing an A on his sweater as James Shearer got injured last Friday, and he'll probably be out of the lineup for a little bit. And so it looks like it's going to be a penalty on Kansas City. Couldn't see if a Grizzly player was skating towards the box as well. And the official will make an announcement on Flow Sports. So the penalty is going to be on Kansas City, and I think unsportsmanlike conduct might have been called there. Parikh is still on 2 knees, being looked at by Colin Lee. Now Parikh will get his mouthpiece. He'll get back to his feet. You can tell Colin's a bit of a shorter guy as Parikh stands up. Colin's one of the best trainers in the league. 18:09 is left in the third period. Kansas City with a close call. I wish we would see a replay of that skirmish out in front of the net. Close call. Parikh back to his feet. Colin Lee with a smile. He pats Parikh on the chest. It looks like Lucas is back and ready to go. In the box is Nick Pastajov for Kansas City. If this is a power play for the Grizzlies, it's a critical sequence in this game, as Utah can get some insurance up 2-1. First season meeting of 8 between these clubs. Charging is the call, 1:53 into the third period. That's why Pastajov is in the Rogers and Russell Legal Solutions holding cell. Utah wins the draw. They get it to the right side. Utah skating on the left side. That's their attacking zone in the third period. Utah has it exit the zone. Cutler will back it out to Grizzlies territory as Utah will reset the attack. Grizz will skate towards their left. Tardif steps over the offensive line, spins it around the boards, over towards Cutler on the right side. He feeds it across to Tardif. Ben on the left, gets it to the right side. One-timer, saved by Sterrett. Rebound goes out to Kansas City, who clears it out to center. Good look there by Brandon Cutler on the right side. Sterrett was able to make the save. 1:25 left in the Grizzlies' power play. Utah steps over the offensive line again. Wright will bounce it off the far boards for Tardif. Ben gets it up top for Nilsson. Nilsson fakes it to Cutler, gets it back to Tardif. Tardif tried to get it back to Cutler, but instead Tardif takes the puck, right side shot, and I think that one goes high off the boards. Cutler to the near side gets it. He'll feed it across for Tardif. Ben has a glance off his stick. He'll regather it near the boards. He'll feed it up top for Nilsson. Now to Cutler. Brandon out left side. Now to Nilsson with a blast save by Sterrett. Grizzlies hacking away. Kansas City protecting their goalie. Where's the puck? The net gets dislodged as Wright got pushed into it. And it looks like Sterrett is covered up. Well, that was a blast by Nilsson from the slot. And Sterrett must not have caught it cleanly, as there was a battle afterwards. But it looks like Sterrett has been able to hold on to it, as the Kansas City goaltender has been pretty good tonight. Shane Sterrett's one of the better goaltenders in the league. And it looks like it stays a 2-1 game as both teams will make a line change. 50 seconds left in the Grizzlies' power play as they put the net back in place. And you can tell it's going to be one of those battles. Kansas City wants to be a more physical team out in front of their net. We mentioned how many penalties minutes they took last season. I think they led the league in penalty minutes, if I remember right. Tad O'Had, their head coach, I think wants to play a little bit more of a disciplined game this season. It looks like Kansas City has done so. As to the right side, Mavericks. It looks like you'll do the face-off over again. In some sort of skirmish like that last season, for example, Kansas City might have gotten another guy in the penalty box, and it could have been a 5-on-3. It seemed like those type of scenarios hit the Mavericks a lot last season. Jaremko take the draw against Sekos. Utah wins it as Dakota Raby to the right side. Looks to start to Fitz. Glanced off a Kansas City stick. Now it goes to the left side. Pfizer in the offensive zone. Gets to Raby. Back to Pfizer near the boards. Terran will feed it up top. Utah gets it. Bryson Martin over to the right side. I think that's, can't tell who that is. Utah tried to get it to Raby out in front. He couldn't reach it. Now Raby gets knocked down. Puck ends up towards the right side. Sekos, he was on the right circle. He gets it to Martin, who fakes a shot, feeds it across to Pfizer. He's all alone. Pfizer with a shot. Glove saved by Starrett. And the Kansas City goaltender holds on. I think Pfizer was hoping for a redirection from Fitz out in front of the net. But Starrett, the Kansas City goaltender, who wears number 40 on the back of his sweater, holds on for the save. A couple good looks by the Grizzlies, especially with that last shift, or with the first shift in the power play with that three-man unit of Cutler, Tardif, and Nilsson. And there it was Sekos and Pfizer doing a lot of the work along with Bryson Martin. Taking the draws, Sekos. He's got Raby to his left, and I think Fitz to his right. 18 seconds left in the power play. Kansas City wins the draw, and the Mavericks will sail it down towards the Grizzlies zone. Taking its Bryson Martin as the Grizzlies prepare for life after the power play as Martin skates to neutral ice. Now he crosses center. He'll nudge it off the right wing boards. Grizzlies skate towards the corner. Raby tried to drop it off for Sekos. Kansas City cuts him off. Mavericks are out of the penalty box, and big-time hit delivered at the Utah blue line, but it looks like offside is called as skating in was Theo Calvis. 16:01 is left in the third as Nick Passageov is out of the box. And the referee talking with both units. All interference is going to be the call. There is a big-time hit delivered at the Utah blue line. Well, just as we were talking about the discipline for Kansas City, looks like the Mavericks have taken another penalty. And it's Passageov going back to the penalty box for the second time in this third period. As Passageov came out of the box and then delivered a blow near the Utah blue line. And it was a big-time hit. They're not going to show a replay, but I couldn't see who he hit. But it looks like that was called by Sam Heideman, the referee. So the Grizzlies are going back on the power play. And as Skip Carey, the old Braves broadcaster, used to say, a little insurance wouldn't hurt, as Utah's up 2-1. Kansas City wins the face-off and clears it into the Grizzly zone. Utah runs after it. Andrew Nilsson has it. Grizz are up by 1. As Nilsson will get it across the Tardif. Back to Cutler. Brandon along the left wing. He played there a lot last year. Still dropping off. Grizzlies cross center. Tardif for the right wing pass. Utah steps over the blue line. Right wing shot that goes wide. Rolls along the near boards as Nilsson feeds it across. Tardif with a shot. That one goes wide. Rebound off the boards. Kansas City tries to clear it out. Good job by Nilsson keeping it into the left side. Right across the Tardif. Ben skates in. He'll take a shot. On it, deflects wide and out of play off the protective netting. As the Grizzlies were able to get Tardif open on the right side, but the Mavericks, I think Starrett might have gotten a piece of it. Unfortunately, on these remote broadcasts, being able to track shots can be pretty difficult. I think Starrett got a piece of the Tardif shot and knocked it out of play. 1:22 left in the power play. Taking the face-off is Jamison, and it's won by Utah. Nilsson, right side, will skate towards his left to the blue line behind him. Over to Cutler, left side as he's falling down. He'll take a shot. That one goes wide. Might have been looking for Jamison out in front. Now Kansas City pokes it back to neutral ice. Grizzlies get it back. Cutler enters from the left side. Feeds it across. Tardif's open. He'll take a shot, and it goes wide. And the Grizzlies, right, throws it back up top for Nilsson. Back over to Cutler, who caught the hot pass on the left side. Back over to Nilsson. One-timer, and that one goes wide and rolls along the far boards. Tardif keeps it in the right point. He'll get it up top for Nilsson. But the puck exits the zone. Grizzlies will have to reset. 43 seconds left in the power play. Utah keeps that five-man unit on the ice. Utah gets hit along the near boards. Kansas City comes up with a puck, and they'll sail it across. Looks like Utah will be in the midst of a line change. So too does Kansas City. As Preek is over in his right corner, and he feeds it across the left side. Utah gets 5 new skaters on the ice. 23 seconds left in the power play. Utah's up 2-1. Grizz towards the right side, steps over the offensive line. Kansas City pokes it back towards Grizzlies territory. Utah gets it at neutral ice. Grizz dump it in. Mavericks towards the left corner, spins it back around, and goes to center ice. Utah will back it out and prepare for life after the power play as Nick Passageov for the second time in this third period comes out of the penalty box, and he'll join the play. Utah dumps it in. Sekos off the boards. Puck ends up bouncing off the side of the net. Kansas City will get it out to center ice. Couldn't handle the puck as it rolls towards Utah's bench. Grizz will nudge it across off the screen. Feed it out to center ice. Utah dumps it in. Fitz running it down as he collides with Jake McLaughlin, who's played a good game. Kansas City off the near boards will nudge it out to center ice. Utah picks it off. Now the Grizzlies skate in. Oh, but they're offside as Raby beat the puck to the blue line with Fitz nearby. Offside on the Grizzlies. They could have had a 2-on-1 had it not been called. 13:32 left in the third. Grizzlies had the power play twice in the third period, but Kansas City holds strong. Utah's up 2-1. We're back in 30 seconds on the Grizzlies Hockey Network.
Mavericks' new bean-to-cup machines always deliver a freshly ground cup of coffee on demand, so you can enjoy any of our premium roasts at their best, day or night, hot or iced. Enjoy a fresh cup today.
When you pay with the Nitro card at Maverik, you always save 10 cents or more on fuel every gallon, every day. And you could save a whole lot more thanks to Nitro Best Price. Pick up a Nitro card and upgrade your Adventure Club account today.
Grizzlies lead 2-1, 13:32 left in the third period. Thanks for joining us on Flow Sports for the video stream and YouTube for the audio stream as we're here at Maverik Center. Grizzlies have outshot the Mavericks 7-2 in the third period, led by a couple power plays. Nick Passagov reached the penalty box twice in the third period. So Grizzlies have had 5 minutes worth of power play time, but it's still just 2-1. And that's what the score was after 2 periods. As the Grizzlies skate 5-on-5, they're deep in their own zone, and they'll nudge it ahead. Turnover. Mavericks skate over to the right circle. They'll take a shot on. It goes wide as they try to go stick side on Parikh. As the Mavericks to the left corner get knocked down. Kansas City feeds it up top. And they get it across to Tommy Muck. He'll bounce it to the corner as Utah delivers a hit. Kansas City gets pushed as they try to skate back towards the point. Mavericks right point, backhand shot, and that one gets blocked away by Parikh. I think that was taken by Tommy Muck wearing number 3 as Cam Strong will get it to the near side. Utah spreads the ice, and now they'll start the attack skating from right to left. Up ahead to Cam Strong. He steps over the blue line, make that Tardif, and Kansas City pokes it away. Actually, it was Strong as Kansas City neutral ice gets to their blue line and dumps it in as they make a full line change. 12.5 minutes left in the third as Strong dumps it in from just outside his offensive blue line as the Grizzlies in the attack zone, right side. They look to center it. Kansas City picks it off. Oh, Utah takes it away. Left circle, shot. Saved by Sterrett. Now Utah looking for the wraparound. Couldn't convert on it. Cam Wright took that last shot for Utah as the puck goes back to center ice. Mavericks stumping into the offensive zone. Parikh behind his net plays as we got about 12 minutes left in the third. Utah's up 2-1. Neither team scored here so far in the third. Mavericks over to the left side. They'll step over the line as they'll skate towards the corner. Connor McDonald pinning him to the boards. Mavericks to the right side will skate towards the point. Kansas City gets it up top for Theo Calvis. He'll feed it to the right corner. Mavericks around the boards. Jaremko. He's in the left circle. He'll skate towards his right as Jaremko's now on the right circle. Jaremko stops at the goal line. Centering pass, shot and a score. Jaremko with a great play out in front. Feeds it to, we'll find out when the lights turn on as we're tied at 2. And it looks like the goal is scored by Tristan Mullen. Mullen now has 1 goal and 1 assist tonight, and the Mavericks have tied it up. Boy, Jaremko with a great play. Skated towards the right goal line, stopped, fed it out in front to Mullen, who was cutting down the middle. And Mullen was able to win the foot race with Ben Tardif. And Mullen ends up with the great pass, or with the goal on the great pass from Jaremko. 11:35 left in the third. It's the Grizzlies 2 and the Mavericks 2. For Tristan Mullen, last season he played with the Cleveland Monsters in the AHL. He looks like he's one of Kansas City's best forwards. We're tied at 2. Grizzlies have it in their own zone. Up ahead to Raby at neutral ice. Dakota will dump it in. Running after its turn, Pfizer, no icing as Josh Elm skates around his net. As it's a brand new hockey game as Kansas City has goals from Cole Koski and Tristan Mullen. As the Mavericks skate from left to right, they feed it out to center ice. Kicks off his stick and goes to Raby. Raby feeds it towards the middle for Pfizer. Pfizer gets around a skater and he draws a penalty. As Kansas City touches up, Pfizer is in the slot and felt like he didn't have a shooting angle, tried to get around LeBerg, and hooking might be the call as Pfizer got he got spun around as he was trying to get around the Kansas City skater for a better shooting angle. Let's see if we can get the signal from the referee, and hooking is the call. As the Grizzlies are going to go back on the power play. It's Utah's third full power play. It's their third full power play, and guess who's going to the box again? It's Nick Passageov taking his third penalty of the third period. Passageov is very familiar with that spot in the penalty box here so far in the third. Passageov will now have 6 minutes of penalties, worth of penalty minutes here in the third period. Utah wins the draw. We're tied at 2. Grizzlies in the offensive zone as Pfizer over in the corner as Fitz is nearby. Mavericks hacking away. 3 Grizzlies and 3 Mavericks over in the right corner. Sekos is over at the left point surveying as Grizzlies continue to hack away. And who's going to come out of the pile with the puck? Utah is. As Pfizer over to the right side, kicks it over as Utah tries to feed Fitz out in front. Puck ended up staying on the right side. Grizz skate towards the right side. Bryson Martin drops it off. I think that's Sekos. He'll feed it across to Pfizer. Pfizer towards the near goal line for Fitz. Fitz skates in. He'll take a shot. And a pad saved by Sterrett. As Kansas City tries to clear it out. Stays in. Pfizer, left side. He'll kick it across. Utah gets it up top. Martin. He'll fake a shot, and he'll feed it to, I think, Sekos on the right side. He's near the corner. Sekos towards the far goal line. Now he'll skate around the net, and he'll get it to Pfizer on the left side. Pfizer skates towards the point. He'll get it to Sekos. He gets it across to the right side to Raby. Up top for Martin. Now to Pfizer. One-timer. Saved by Sterrett. Rebound. Kansas City throws it towards the near boards. Pfizer gets it. He'll skates towards the corner. Now Fitz skates around the net. He'll throw it to Raby on the right side. Up top for Martin. Now to Sekos. Back to Martin. High slot over to Sekos. One-timer. And that one goes wide as it rolls along the near boards. On Pfizer couldn't keep it in as it goes out to neutral ice. Martin will skate in from the right side as the Grizzlies make a line change around him. Martin on the right side. He'll skate towards the point. Now he'll feed it to the high slot for Wright. He gets it across. Utah now gets it to Cutler. He's in the left point. Cutler skates towards the circle. Now he gets it across to Tardif. Ben will skate towards his left with the blue line just behind him. Now to Nilsson. One-timer, and that one goes wide. Rolls along the near boards. Cutler keeps it in. Grizzlies at the end of the power play. Cutler with a shot. Save. Jamison looking for a rebound. Kansas City hits him as Sterrett holds on. And that will do it for the Grizzlies power play as they were able to keep it in the offensive zone for about a day and a half. But Nick Passageov, who served 3 penalties. He has committed 3 penalties for Kansas City. And the Mavericks kill all 3 Passageov penalties as we remain tied at 2 as the Mavericks got on the board with Tristan Mullen 8:25 in. Well, it's going to be a fun one, and we'll find out how this ends together. 8:57 left in the third period. We're tied at 2 on the Grizzlies Hockey Network, presented by Rio Tinto.
If you're out driving and something happens to your car, truck, or even wheelchair, and you end up stuck at a rail crossing, it's going to be okay. Don't panic. Here's what you do. Get out if you can and look for this blue sign on the metal pole. Call the number on the blue sign, and when they answer, tell them the crossing number. The number is right here. This tells them the exact location of the crossing. This is the fastest way to get trains stopped before coming through the crossing. Look for the blue. It helps you.
What a game we've got over at Cable Dahmer Arena as we're tied at 2. Both teams scored 1 goal in the first period. Dylan Fitz, 6:01, unassisted. For Kansas City, Cole Koski tied it up with 7 seconds left in the first. Terran Pfizer, unassisted, made it a 2-1 Utah lead, 10:46 in. Kansas City's Tristan Mullen got his 3rd of the year on a nice centering feed from Jake Jeremko. And Theo Calvis also picking up an assist. Grizzlies have had 7 minutes worth of power play time in the third period. Nick Passageov has committed 3 separate penalties in the third. But Kansas City killed all 3 penalties as we're tied at 2. Draws into Kansas City zone. Utah wins the faceoff as action is in the right corner with less than 9 minutes left in regulation. As Kansas City takes it away as Utah tried to feed it to the corner. Mavericks race towards the left circle. Take a righty shot. Saved by Parikh. As the Mavericks look to center it, glanced off a Cutler stick. Mavericks looking for a shot, and Wright cuts in front of him. Now the Mavericks towards the left circle. Tardif chasing after him. Mavericks with a backhand shot saved by Preek. Rebound hacking away. And there's a lot of bodies, maybe 8 or 9 bodies in the crease. McKenna's in there, and it looks like Cutler's covered. Looks like Preek is covered up, and we got some action out in front of the net as Passagov and Nilsson collide. Could Passagov go to the box for the 4th time this third period? Passagov now being held up by Cameron Wright in the area, as well as Jake McLaughlin. And boy, we had about 8 bodies in the crease after it looked like Preek had bobbled a Kansas City shot. And we remain scoreless. Is somebody going to the box for Kansas City? Let's see the officials skating towards center ice. Looks like we got members of both teams skating towards the penalty box. Klerman looks like he's going in for Utah. Is anybody going in for Kansas City? Well, the camera probably isn't going to show. Looks like Josh Lamon of Kansas City. Looks like he's entered the box as well. And the official, Sam Heidemann, I think, has done a pretty good job tonight, but play's starting to get physical. And really, it seems like as the game has progressed, it has started to get more and more physical. As Klerman's in the box for Utah, I think Josh Lamon is in the box for Kansas City. Yeah, there is a Kansas City player in there. And so it looks like we got matching penalties, probably matching roughing minors, as there was a lot of action out in front of the net. 8:23 left in the third, and if we do have 4-on-4 action, this could be an opportunity for ice to open up a little bit and the Grizzlies to utilize their speed. You know, guys like Tardif and Pfizer and Sekos. Pfizer is on the ice in the right wing. Sekos will take the face-off. Bryson Martin to the left. I think Martin's played one of his better games as a Grizzly tonight. We are skating 4-on-4 for 2 minutes. Utah wins the draw. Grizzlies are going to be patient with their offensive approach here as Sekos at neutral ice will feed it across. I think that's the Grizzlies captain, Connor McDonald. McDonald loses the puck. Kansas City collides with McDonald. Utah's able to keep it. As Martin's behind his net, he'll feed it to the right side. Connor fakes a long-range pass. Now feed it across to Sekos on the near side. Sekos has it. He'll skate towards his own corner and get it across to Martin. Almost looks like the Grizzlies are treating this as if it's a 3-on-3 overtime. Utah gets to neutral ice. Now they cross center. Sekos drops off for Pfizer. Terrence skates in. He'll veer off to the right. He's now in the right circles. The Grizzlies are in the attack zone. I tried to feed the right point, but nobody was there as Pfizer gets his own pass at his blue line. As Terran will back it out. 1:10 left in the 4-on-4. And it's almost like the Grizzlies are playing for one golden opportunity here with the score tied at 2. Puck's in the right corner. Kansas City gets knocked down as the Mavericks skate towards the right circle. I try to feed it across. The pass is wide of Josh Elms. Elms will run after it. The Grizzlies will get a couple new skaters on the ice. It's Kansas City now in possession as Cameron Wright takes it away. Right over to Raby. He's just outside the left circle. Raby near the boards as he holds on to it in the point. Raby in the offensive zone trying to get around a couple Kansas City skaters. Now he gets to the near goal line. Centers it. Grizzlies with a backhand shot. Saved by Starrett. And the rebound goes to the Mavericks. 30 seconds left in the 4-on-4. Kansas City tries to feed it to the right side. It's picked off. Cameron Wright skates towards the left circle. Take a shot. Glove saved by Starrett. Puck still in play. As, boy, we got a penalty as a stick in a helmet or a stick in a glove went flying. And the camera is pointed to Pascal LeBerg. Whose stick and glove that was. That might decide what the penalty's on. Looks like it's a Grizzly glove on the ice. Does that mean a Grizzly power play? As we're skating 4-on-4 for 21 seconds. And it looks like Utah is going to be on a 4-on-3 power play for 21 seconds. And then the Grizzlies, well, probably have a 5-on-4 after that. Nilsson talking with the referee. So Kansas City's got a guy going to the box. I think I saw high sticking. We only got a glance at the official signal there. As James McKenna and Nate Klerman are each in the box right now. 2 minutes for roughing, and Kansas City now has committed another penalty. 6:43 is left in the third. We're tied at 2 as the shots are pretty close to even. Kansas City 27 shots, Utah's 26. Mavericks win the face-off, and they'll clear it all the way towards Lucas Perique. Grizzlies have outshot the Mavericks. 27 in the third period, 14-5. Grizzlies over to the left side are in the attack zone as Tardif over to Nilsson. Now Utah's on a 5-on-4 power play. To the right side, lefty shot gets blocked. Rolls back towards Tardif. Now Cutler will chip it to the right side. Utah, I think that's Nilsson, will skate towards his left. And it is, as Nilsson towards the left corner. He gets blasted along the boards. Kansas City fanned on clearing it out. Fizer over to the right side. One-timer. Saved by Sterrett. Rebound goes out to the right side again as Utah chips it up top. Grizz get it to Fizer on the left side, just outside the circle. Now up top for Tardif. Ben with a lefty shot. That gets blocked and bounces to the right point. Grizzlies, can they keep it in? Tardif got spun around. Is that going to be another penalty? Tardif was reaching for the puck, and he got his stick held up. I think that's going to be another penalty on Kansas City. And it is, as Jeremy McKenna looks like he is perplexed as he's going to go to the penalty box. It's going to be a 5-on-3 for a minute 2 with 5:45 left in the third. Slashing is going to be the call. Oh, you talk about golden opportunities. How many golden opportunities and power plays are the Grizzlies going to get? I imagine Ryan Kanaswich has got everybody huddled up on the bench. I would think Kanaswich would use his timeout right now, as the Grizzlies have had one power play after another in this third period. Now they got a 2-man advantage for a minute 2 seconds. 5:45 left in the third. We're tied at 2. This kind of feels like next goal wins kind of scenario. So it looks like Ryan Kanaswich has used his timeout as the Grizzlies are huddled up near their bench. Boy, can they find a one-time attempt? Can they find Fizer alone on the left side? What about Nilsson? He's got a powerful one-timer. He had 9 goals for Utah in about half a season last year. Could it end up being Ben Tardif getting his first goal of the season? Kansas City's got 2 guys in the penalty box. Brandon Cutler will take the face-off, a critical sequence in this game. First of a 3-game set, as Utah's looking to get a winning record on the road. As Fizer takes it after Utah wins the face-off. He'll throw it to Cutler. Brandon on the left side. He'll get it to Fizer. 50 seconds left in the 5-on-3. Fizer holds on to it. He'll throw it up top for Cutler. Brandon skates towards his right. He'll get it to Martin, to Nilsson. Back over to Fizer on the left side. Fizer skates towards his right. He'll take a shot. Glove saved by Sterrett. And he holds on. Grizzlies had Cameron Wright out in front of the net looking for a redirection. What a stop by Shane Sterrett, as Terran Fizer is wide open on the left side. The amazing thing is Sterrett was able to catch that cleanly, because if he didn't, it looked like Cameron Wright was in the right spot to put it away to give Utah a lead. Where's the faceoff? Looks like it's going to be on the left side again. Utah's going to have the same 5 on the ice. Grizz win the faceoff. Nilsson will feed it to the right side. Fizer gets it towards the right circle. I think that's Tardif. Make that Cutler. He'll get it to the right side for Fizer. Now to Tardif. Back to Fizer. Shot. Saved by Sterrett. Rebound goes to the left side. Nilsson skates towards his right. 15 seconds left in the 5-on-3. Fizer over to Nilsson. Shot. Save. Rebound. Shot. All right with a backhand attempt. Sterrett makes that save as well. Now to Nilsson. 5 seconds left in the 5-on-3. Shot. Saved by Sterrett. Rebound goes to Kansas City, and the Mavericks will clear it out. Boy, how many opportunities are you going to get here tonight on the power play? Utah still with the 5-on-4 power play for the next 50 seconds. Skating down the middle's Cutler. He'll gain the offensive line. Utah feeds it to the left side. Nilsson still out there. He'd looked for a shot, and his stick didn't break, but it let him down. Now Kansas City up ahead. 3-on-3. Mavericks look to center it. Wide open lefty shot. Saved by Parikh. And it looks like Lucas is held on. Boy, the Grizzlies avert dangerous. Kansas City had a 3-on-3. Skated to the right side. Centering pass connected. And I think it was Jaremko who was in the slot. And he fired away. And Lucas was able to make the stop and not allow a rebound. 35 seconds left in the Grizzlies 5-on-4 power play. But the faceoff is going to be in their own zone. Boy, Shane Sterrett, give him a star honor tonight for the job he has done in the third period. As the draw won by the Grizzlies. We're tied at 2. 4:15 left in regulation. Utah up with it as Sekos will drop it off for Martin. Now the Grizz cross center ice from the right side and dump it around the boards. Sekos pins it back towards the right corner as Utah, I think that's Klerman, gets pinned as Sekos in the area. As Klerman trying to break free as he skates towards the net. Now he'll get it to Johnny Walker on the left side. Walker in the corner. Feeds it up top for Martin. Back to Walker. Left side. He'll take a shot. Saved by Sterrett. Rebound goes to the right side. Fitz will throw it up top for Martin. He'll take a shot. Save. Oh, Walker was looking for the rebound and banned on it. As Kansas City crosses center ice and dumps it in. We're back to even strength. Boy, missed opportunity by the Grizzlies, unfortunately. As Utah crosses center ice and makes a full line change, and they dump it in. As Kansas City gets pinned along the right corner. Arm is raised by the referee. And Passagov was in the area. So was Walker. Well, is Johnny going to get 2 for boarding? He had a similar hit against Rapid City in the opener that wasn't called. I think Walker's going to get called for boarding as he dumped it in and hit Kansas City. And it looks like Walker's going to the penalty box. It's going to be a power play situation, and this time it's Kansas City. 3:24 is left in regulation. And you talk about a fun hockey team to watch. This Grizzlies team, both on the offensive and defensive sides, have been fun to watch. But, boy, you think about a 5-on-3 situation for about a minute. And then after that, another minute of 5-on-4 action. The Grizzlies are now 0 for 6 on the power play. And right now, that's the difference in the game and why it's still tied. Kansas City is 0 for 3 on the power play. But how about this for a stat? Utah in the first 2 periods had 13 shots. In the third period, Utah has taken 19 shots. Kansas City has taken 7. And Utah is still scoreless in the third period. So tip your hat to Shane Sterrett, who has stopped 30 of 32, the Kansas City goaltender. Lucas Preek has stopped 26 of 28. But those opportunities, and Ryan Kanasowicz used his timeout for that 5-on-3 situation. Utah had some good looks. I think Pfizer might have had the best look from the left side that Sterrett made a glove save on. But I guess it just wasn't meant to be, as we're still battling here. Walker did get 2 minutes for boarding, 16:36 in, and Kansas City is on the power play. He delivered a similar hit in the season opener against Rapid City and didn't get called for it, but he got called for it there. Mavericks win the draw as LeBerg feeds up top for McLaughlin. He'll get it to the left side. Shot saved by Parikh. Rebound goes to the left corner. As Utah battling in the corner, 3 Grizzlies and 3 Mavericks over there. 20 seconds into the Kansas City power play and 3 minutes left in regulation. Puck still in the corner as Kansas City breaks 3 as they feed it to the left point. Now the Mavericks in the left circle as they look to center it, and instead it gets kicked to McLaughlin in the high slot. He'll feed it to LeBerg. Back to McLaughlin. Over to the left side. One-timer, and that's blocked. Kansas City keeps it in. McLaughlin. Still switch places with LeBerg. Well, McLaughlin will feed it to the corner as Tristan Mullen, who scored a goal in the third period. He's being boxed out by Connor McDonald. Now to the corner. Utah, can they clear it out? And they do. I think that was Zach Sekos who cleared it out. Halfway through the Kansas City power play. 2:22 and counting left in regulation. It's the Grizzlies 2 and the Mavericks 2. As Kansas City gets to neutralize. Now they cross center. Mavericks feed it to the right. Mavericks enter the zone. McKenna gets it up top. Now it's to the left side. Kansas City. Passagov around as he spins it to the near side. Kansas City pokes it back to the corner. Mavericks look for the give and go out in front, and they take a shot and they score. And the Mavericks take a lead as a centering pass connected. Passagov was in the area. And with 1:58 left in the third, it's a power play goal scored by Keegan Howdeshell. He gets his first goal of the season. And the Mavericks find a way to score on the man advantage. And they've taken a 3-2 lead as they've scored 2 unanswered here in the third. They'll show a replay on Flow Sports as it goes to the right side near the boards. Kansas City was able to get it to the corner, and that was Waugh. And then the Mavericks fed it out in front. Howdeshell skated in. It was the pass from Passagov. Passagov had committed 3 penalties earlier in the period. Dropped it off for Howdeshell. It was wide open, and he went top shelf on Parikh. So it's the Mavericks 3 and the Grizzlies 2. And you worry if you're a Grizzlies fan that all those power play chances you had in the third period, not capitalizing on those might be the difference in the game. As Kansas City got a power play and capitalized on it late in regulation. Parikh's still in net as Utah has the puck in their own zone, skating from right to left. Grizz get it to center ice, chip it over to the right, trying to find Cutler in the give and go, passes wide of the mark. As Tardif in the corner, feeds it from one corner to the next. Now back to Tardif, who skates towards the right side. As Utah will get it to the slot. Nilsson with a shot saved by Sterrett. Rebound, backhand shot. That one goes wide, taken by Wright. 1:13 left as Utah, I believe, has pulled their goaltender. 6-on-5, Utah's net's empty. Utah feeds it to the slot. Kansas City picks it off as the pass was wide of the mark. Mavericks out towards center ice. Utah will nudge it from blue line to blue line. Kansas City picks it off, fires towards the empty net, and it goes wide. And icing is called on the Mavericks, and the referee is going to make sure the right 5 players for Kansas City will remain on the ice. 56 seconds left in regulation as the Mavericks lead 3-2. Aldashell scored 18:02 in. Pastajov and Jeremy McKenna with the assists. Grizzlies have taken 20 shots in the third period. None have gone past Sterrett. Utah 0 for 6 on the power play. Kansas City 1 for 4. That's the difference in the game. Utah wins the draw. Slot shot that goes wide. Grizzlies get it to the left side. Nilsson around the boards. Utah pins it to the right side. 42 seconds left. Martin gets it around as it's behind the net. Utah feeds it to Nilsson. Left point. Oh, but it bounced off his stick and goes out to neutral ice. And the Grizzlies will have to reset as it's out to center ice. Back to Nilsson. Andrew, the left wing pass to Cutler. He enters. Left point. Shot that goes wide. Now right corner. Grizzlies fire a tough angle look that goes wide. Now Nilsson with a one-timer, and that one goes wide as well. 20 seconds left as Tardif feeds it across to Nilsson. Now to Martin. Back to Nilsson. And now there's 13 seconds left. Over to the left corner. Back up top for Nilsson. Utah needs to get a shot off. Martin over to the slot. He fires towards the net. Got redirected. Now Tardif behind the goal line. Tries to feed it out in front. Grizzlies hacking away. Utah gets pushed along the slot. Shot is blocked, and that will do it. Kansas City holds on for a 3-2 victory as Keegan Haldashell scored the game winner with 1:58 left in regulation. And it was a power play tally. Grizzlies had some looks. They're in the final 40 seconds of regulation. Nilsson had to bounce off his stick to go out to center ice. Utah had to reset. Boy, they had a couple good looks as Kansas City just kind of piled the crease and took away Utah's shooting angles, and the Mavericks hold strong. How about the Grizzlies in the third period? You think about shots, no less than 21 shots in the third period, and Shane Sterrett stopped them all. And if you're a Grizzlies fan, all those power plays in the third period, and yet just couldn't come through and pick up that big goal to make to decide the game. And Kansas City was able to capitalize on their power play. And unfortunately, from the Grizzlies' perspective, that's the difference in the game as Kansas City's record goes to 3-1. Utah will fall to 2-3. Post-game show coming up next. Once again, the final score from Cable Dahmer Arena. The Kansas City Mavericks 3 and the Utah Grizzlies 2. You're listening to the Grizzlies Hockey Network. Utah Grizzlies fall to the Kansas City Mavericks. 3-2 the final score at Cable Dahmer Arena. As the Mavericks win the first of the three-game series, it was quite an interesting game. Utah had its chances, especially in the second half of the contest, but Shane Sterrett and company held strong as the fans over at Cable Dahmer leave for home happy, and the Grizzlies fall to 1-2 away from the friendly confines of Maverik Center, and they're now 2-3 overall. Let's get to the scoring in this game. Dylan Fitz got an unassisted goal, 6:01 in as he scored from the right side past Shane Sterrett, and Utah took a 1-0 lead. Mavericks responded, and you talk about getting momentum last 30 seconds of a period. Cole Koski scored with 7 seconds left in the first with Jake McLaughlin and Tristan Mullen getting the assist as McLaughlin was in the high slot, fed it to the left circle for Mullen, and then Mullen fed it out in front to Koski, who was cutting in from the right side. And that tied the game. Kansas City outshot Utah 10-8 in the first period. In the second, Utah took advantage as Taryn Fizer from the left circle just kind of fired an innocent-looking wrist shot that had some velocity on it, and the puck ended up having eyes as it went past Sterrett, and that gave Utah a 2-1 lead. Utah usually is pretty good when defending a lead, protecting the lead. Utah last season was 29-1 when leading after two periods. Well, they've picked up a loss when leading after two this year, as Kansas City tied the game 8:25 in. Tristan Mullen picked up the goal. Jaremko and Calvis with the assists. And as good as Lucas Prate played, where was all three of the goals? All three of them were right in front of the net. I think the combined length of the shots of the 3 goals Kansas City scored was probably no more than 7 feet. Because Mullen, if I remember right, scored from out in front from a pass from Jaremko. And Jaremko was over in he kind of skated from left to right, kind of did a half circle, stopped at the near goal line, fed it in front to Mullen, who put it away as he went top shelf on Parikh. Lucas did an outstanding job on a lot of those other shots, but Kansas City was able to get in that area on a few occasions, and that's where they scored all 3 of their goals. The game winner was pretty similar. There was a lot of bodies out in front. Nick Pastajov was over to the right side, if I remember right. He kind of dropped it off for Haldashell. This was probably the furthest of the 3 goals, and Haldashell was able to put it away. Pastajov and McKenna with the assist, and that has to feel good for Nick Pastajov, who committed 3 separate penalties in the third period. He got a charging minor, 153 in, came out of the penalty box, and 6 seconds later caught an interference minor. So he 6 seconds after he's leaves the penalty box, he goes back in, and then later in the period, 9:03 in, got a hooking minor. There's 3 golden opportunities for Utah. Remember, the Grizzlies were on the power play the first minute of the third period. So you talk about the first 11 minutes of the third period, the Grizzlies had 7 minutes worth of power play time. And unfortunately, from the Grizzlies' perspective, they were not able to capitalize. Klerman and McKenna got roughing minors, 11:37 in. And late in that 4-on-4 situation, Josh Elms got a slashing minor, 13:18 in. So Utah had a 4-on-3 power play. And then when Jeremy McKenna got a slashing minor 57 seconds later, 14:15 in, Grizzlies had a 5-on-3 power play for 1 minute and 3 seconds. Ryan Kanaswich used his timeout. I mean, how many power plays are you going to get before you find a way to get to the back of the net? Utah entering play tonight was 2 for 21 on the power play, and they ended up finishing 0 for 6 on the man advantage. A lot of golden opportunities. A lot of opportunities. Cutler in the left circle, or maybe it was Pfizer on a couple of occasions. Tardif had some looks. Nilsson with a couple shots up top, but none of them got past Shane Sterrett. Utah had 21 shots in the third period. All of them were stopped by Sterrett. And Utah outshot Kansas City 21-8 in the third period. But Shane Sterrett and company held strong. And then Kansas City got a power play 16:36 in. Johnny Walker got a boarding minor. It was a similar hit that he delivered on opening night and didn't get called. That's when Tyson Helgeson fought him, and Walker ended up getting called this time. That gave Kansas City a power play as Walker's penalty came 16:36 in. And on that power play is when Haldashell scored the game winner, 18:02 in. And so that's the deciding factor in the game as the Mavericks get a 3-2 victory. For Utah, so many opportunities in the final half of regulation that just unfortunately couldn't find a way to get one past Shane Sterrett. And so Utah, through 5 games, has averaged 2 goals as they have 10 goals in 5 games, with 5 of them coming off the stick of Taryn Pfizer. So I know in the next 2 days, Utah should get a couple practices in over at Cable Dahmer Arena. I think there's a show on Thursday, so I'm not sure. I think there's actually a side rink, a community rink that Utah can practice in. And I got to imagine the offensive game is going to be what Ryan Kanaswich focuses on. And the Grizzlies trying to find a way to generate some goals. And in particular, when you get 6 power plays like the Grizzlies did, can they find a way to capitalize on even one of them? Even one of those Grizzlies power plays in the third period, if they score on any one of those, I mean, we're at the very least looking at overtime, if not looking at a Grizzlies victory, especially if they scored on one of those power plays halfway through the third period. That would have given Utah a 2-goal lead. But, who knows? Because once Kansas City scored 8:25 in, that kind of evened things up. And then, from then on out, Grizzlies had a couple power plays, including that 5-on-3, and just couldn't find a way to win. And as the old hockey saying goes, if you can't win with a 5-on-3 power play like that, then they say you don't deserve to win the game. And I don't know if that rings true tonight, but Kansas City comes away on top as their record goes to 3-1 on the year. And the Grizzlies fall to 2-3. Utah's 1-2 on the road. Kansas City is 2-0 in their barn. So we'll see what happens on Friday night after the 2 days off. I know Ryan Kanaswich came into this season probably not thinking that he was going to have to worry about the goal scoring 5 games in. But Utah has struggled in that department. It's not for a lack of opportunities, because the Grizzlies had them, especially in the latter portion of the game. Guess you got to give a lot of credit to Shane Sterrett and what looks to be an improved Kansas City defense for coming through as the Mavericks get the victory. Final score 3-2. Well, we got Guy Krenza here in the studios here at Maverik Center. And, Guy, I think the difference in the game really was Kansas City was able to convert on their power play in the third period, and Utah had opportunity after opportunity and just weren't able to capitalize on their chances.
Yeah, well, Tyson, you're absolutely right. The Grizzlies need to capitalize on their chances, and they went 0 for 5 on the power play in this game, and it's Kansas City ended up scoring on their power play to end things, and they pounced on their chances, and the Grizzlies didn't.
Looked like the Grizzlies, whether it was Pfizer, Cutler, Tardif, it looked like the opportunities were there. It almost looked like, with Kansas City, it was a couple centering passes that got through. I mean, Howdeshell probably had the furthest shot of the 3, and even then, he was in the paint. He was near the paint there in the crease area. And so it's almost like Kansas City, on all their goals, was able to just get the puck right in there and have those grade A chances. Otherwise, I think Lucas Preet played outstanding. Grizzlies would get the puck in there, and unfortunately, it'd just be either a shot would go wide, or Kansas City would block it, or somebody would tip it away. Something would happen there to where Utah couldn't finish those plays, where Kansas City on a couple occasions finished theirs.
Well, I agree with that, Tyson. You know what? I actually think it's a shame, because I really feel like the Grizzlies played a pretty good game for the most part. I mean, and they actually came out guns blazing in the third period. They were out shooting the Mavericks. They just couldn't get anything going. Like, the puck was just not bouncing their way. And as you mentioned before, the puck was bouncing Kansas City's way. It was on the goal line a couple times, and they were able to chop it in. Close perimeter goals to Parik, despite him playing a good game. But sometimes that's just the difference. Sometimes you get the bounces, and sometimes you don't. Especially in one-goal games, and it seems like a lot of the games the Grizzlies have played so far this season have been close contests. But, you head to the weekend, I think that, the Grizzlies will get a couple practices in with 2 days off. And I got to imagine the power play and maybe some battles out in front of the net might be what Ryan Kanaswich and his assistant Jared Pike are going to be working on. Well, no question the power play is going to be under fire by Coach Kanaswich. I mean, you can't go 0 for 5 and expect to win the game. I thought the power play needed to be a lot better just from a scheming standpoint. I felt like they were doing a good job of keeping possession on the power play, but they weren't generating a lot of high-quality chances. I mean, we'd see a lot of shots from the blue line, or we'd see them from outside the circle. They need to start getting more quality chances, get someone in the slot, get someone in front of the net to get a screen so you can get a tip in or something. They just need to get it going, because this is unacceptable at this point.
Yeah, it's one of those where sometimes you get in a habit of just getting to the blue line, firing away, and hoping for the best. That was kind of how Pfizer ended up scoring from the left circle, and he's been outstanding, 5 goals in 10 games. But, when you play these 1- and 2-goal games, that's going to end up making the difference. Guy, thanks for hanging out with us. Any final thoughts here on this Tuesday night?
I think the Grizzlies came out and they played a pretty good game despite getting shut out in their last game in Boise. I think we're going to have a very exciting game the next time we see the Grizzlies on Friday, so stay tuned for that.
We'll be on Flow Sports and YouTube for all the coverage. Guy, we'll hopefully talk with you then.
Thank you, Tyson.
Kansas City Mavericks come away with a 3-2 victory. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast, if not necessarily the final outcome, as the Mavericks. Let's get to the 3 stars before we head out. Keegan Howdeshell scored the game-winning goal. Maybe this is backwards. They gave Howdeshell the 3rd star. It's possible he ends up getting the 1st star as he scored the game winner with 1:58 left in regulation. 2nd star is Tristan Mullen, who had 1 goal and 1 assist and was a +2. Mullen had an outstanding game he spent last season with the AHL's Cleveland Monsters, and I think we're going to assume this is backwards. Howdeshell the 1st star, Mullen's the 2nd star. 3rd star, Cole Koski, who scored with 7 seconds left in the first period. He is the number 3 star of the game. Shane Sterrett should get star honors for sure for Kansas City as he stopped 32 of 34. And the Grizzlies 5 shots in the second period. They didn't get many looks in the second. Third period, they had 21 shots, and Shane Sterrett stopped them all, and he gets the victory to go to 3-0 on the season. I thought Lucas Preek played a pretty good game despite the outcome. He stopped 26 of 29, and his record goes to 2-2 on the season. Kansas City with 2 unanswered in the third. Tristan Mullen, 8:25 in, and Keegan Howdeshell with the game winner, 18:02 in. That's the deciding factor in the game. Grizzlies 0 for 6 on the power play, and they are 2 for 27 on the man advantage through the first 5 games. Kansas City finished 1 for 4 on the power play, and they are now 5 for 16 on the young season. Next broadcast of Grizzlies hockey will be on Friday night. 5:50 pregame show, 6:05 face-off over at Cable Dahmer Arena, as that'll be the second of a 3-game series. These same teams will meet on Saturday night as well, and then the Grizzlies will stay in the Central Time Zone, and they'll face the Allen Americans next Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, November 9th, 11th, and 12th. Face off all 3 nights in that series will be at 6:05 in the Mountain Time Zone. For Guy Carenza, I'm Tyson Whiting. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast and not necessarily the final outcome. Once again, in 2 hours and 25 minutes and in front of 1,631 at Cable Dahmer Arena, Keegan Howdeshell got the game winner with 1:58 left in regulation. Utah got goals from Dylan Fitz, his first of the year, and Taryn Fizer picked up his 5th goal of the season. That's 5 goals in 5 games for Taryn Fizer, who also led the Grizzlies with 7 shots on goal. We'll talk to you on Friday night. For Guy Carenza, I'm Tyson Whiting, and it is what it is. Catch Kiki Crumb's post-game report on UtahGrizzlies.com, and we'll talk on Friday at 5:50. I'm Tyson Whiting, and it is what it is. We'll talk to you then. You've been listening to the Grizzlies Hockey Network.